Orianna, J4, Caitlyn, all three very, your typical champions. Orianna, J4, obviously a very strong combo. Um, on top of the Wukong and Nivea Jinx on the other side, very CC heavy, strong, reliable, very strong peel as well. So we'll be seeing a lot of power, especially onto that Jinx, who is going to be, I'm assuming, my team is muted, that we have seen time and time again show just how strong they really are as a player, as an individual, and just how much peel this person can really get as their team just truly enables them. What is have you gotten any kind of insight on how much they really rely on this player?
Um, Honestly, it actually I don't think shows as much in game, but uh, usually they do that just by circumstance that just so happens to work out that way. And I think a lot of that comes from a combination of Vice in the jungle and middies. They're two heavy playmaking players. So in combination with having someone who's as competent on these carries, it kind of just so works out that way. But he absolutely is one of the most technically skilled players that I've seen come into our org. So it's been a pleasure to watch him so far, and obviously being given the keys to Jinx right now, it's not really the most entertaining team comp to play against is Jinx. You're having everything in the kitchen sink thrown at you. The J4 Ori combo, obviously so potent, and I think that for GCCe, I think the mid jungle duo has been a driver for a lot of their early game success. So really, I don't know. I won't say I'm not confident, but I'm a little scared if I were the Jinx.
That sounds about right. It's I see the Aatrox being picked here. My instant thought is, oh man, that's the world ender. But I have to remind myself over and over and over again that is actually not the world ender. That's on Digidestined. So that is I believe it's Tace. Yes. Um
Yes.
because the world ender is actually on Monkey Bonsai. The
Yup.
name of the player in top lane is the world ender. So just to confuse everybody, if I refer to the world ender, uh, you know. But I did receive a little bit of insight on your team. Apparently, I don't know if you're too aware of this, but the player named V-Rang in game has informed me that they like to be called Yes. So I will refer to them as Yes. When asked about how to pronounce their name, they responded with Yes. So that is how I will pronounce their name.
Okay. I might still
I don't
call
know
him
if
V-Rank.
you've.
I
Sounds about right.
Yeah, V-Rank, Vrang. Insert word here. Yes. Just about anything you can call him. I bet it would warrant a response. But the last two picks also don't usually see that the last picks are saved for supports, but honestly, uh, I'm a little surprised. I guess I'd love to hear
We're
your
seeing the
thoughts. I
Renata.
think the karma makes a lot of sense. The Kate Karma lane getting a heavy priority in the bottom side to be able to play for those drakes early. Um, and the Renata, I guess, makes sense. We're talking about how hard of a day Jinx is gonna have into so much that it's just coming at her. The dive from J4 Aatrox is one of them's gonna have the Ori ball as well. So I do like the Renata in concept. Um, but obviously hard to execute. And in terms of this lane, I think Renata and Jinx does or should struggle pretty heavily into the Kate Karma in the early game. Obviously, my team is muted and middies are just very potent players. So hopefully the early lane doesn't go too badly. But for GCCe, a very defined identity in this roster.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna be centering around this J4 Oriana engage. Uh, Aatrox likely coming in through some kind of flank. We'll likely see Karma, obviously, a lot of really good support ability that the Karma really offers, not just in terms of the shielding or the movement speed or even the root, but also the damage that she's able to output as a support is a lot higher than a lot of other mages or enchanters that we typically see. The Renata response is a little interesting on my. I think that I think there could have been a better composition that the Renata could have been picked against if it was saved for maybe next game, depending on what they might pick. Uh, just because You have Caitlyn, J4, Oriana. These are not like traditionally very like centered champions when it comes to Renata Ultimate, but I do feel like uh the grab, the handshake is going to be very powerful, especially with that J4 engage, since they are going to be stuck in that terrain of the Cataclysm. It's just going to be so easy for Nada to just slam two people together and enable Malphite to just go straight in. It just helps them to extend the CC that they have already. And Renata is able to get such reliable CC because of all of the other knockups, stuns, slows, whatever that the rest of this team has. It's just going to enable this Renata to really excel to extend that CC train.
Yeah, I'd
But
agree. I think definitely the strongest I guess evidence in support of Renata in this comp is the bailout. With a J4 Ori combo, it is somewhat telegraphed. Somebody's getting nuked. There's not really a surprise on where the Ori's ball is gonna land after J4 Cataclysm's in, right? So if Jinx does get the bailout, I think it's somewhat likely. Also, Wukong is a great user of the bailout, so I like that as well. But I think that that's going to be the real skill check because the engage can happen so quickly for GCCe. The trigger can get pulled in a blink's eye, and if Renata is there and ready with the bailout, monkeys can absolutely turn it. But I think it is pretty defined identities that GCCe is going to be the ones looking in and aggressive, and Bonsai are going to try and temper the storm, the Renata, the Anivia, even Wukong to an extent, and obviously they just need one kill to start to turn the tides with the likes of Jinx excited. So I do like how the draft worked out. Honestly, for both teams, if I were playing, I would love GCCe's comp better just because I like to be the aggressor. But I think honestly a pretty even draft. What would you say? Would you give it any certain direction? Would you favor?
I like this Bonsai comp. I know I'm not actually the monkey guy here, but that's you. Although I do like just the sheer amount of CC that the
It's
monkey
true.
comp
It's true.
brings to this game. It just feels more reliable, more sustainable throughout the entire game. It also doesn't require one or two people to be very far ahead of everybody else. It helps, obviously, if you have a fed Wukong or a fed Jinx or a fed Anivia, but in this Digidestined team, I do feel like they're kind of relying on that Caitlyn Oriana combo, especially with that Aatrox pick matching up against Malphite. Not the easiest of matchups, especially the late game with Malphite stacking all of that armor. This is a very heavily physically damaged team for the Digidestined. The only magic damage they have is the Karma Oriana, and if Karma or Oriana are behind, I don't think it might just not be relevant enough. But we will see. As you did mention before, this is a rematch. I looked it up. It was last week
Was
where
last week. I knew it was
Bonsai
recently.
did
I just
end
didn't know
up,
how recently.
yeah. So Bonsai ended up beating Digidestined 2-0 during that matchup. So we'll see if Digidestined can actually get their revenge here and knock Bonsai out of this playoff bracket early on. Obviously, this is team seed number 1 versus seed number 8 here. So if we do see Digidestined come out on top, this will be a phenomenal upset to start a wonderful playoff series. But in the meantime, we're gonna get set up on the Welcome back, everyone, to the Ember Scorch League first playoff match of the season. And we are joined here with Colonel, obviously the owner of the Monkeys Bonsai and entire Monkeys organization, playing the Monkeys Bonsai against GCCe Digidestined. We'll be seeing Digidestined on our blue side here, with Monkeys Bonsai on our red. Now, last time these two teams faced off, it went very heavily favored for this Monkey Bonsai team. However, I do think we might be in for a little bit of a different match here. This is the number 1 team, Monkeys Bonsai, versus the number 8 team, Digidestined. So I would love to see just a good matchup here. I don't want this to be, you know, a one-sided kind of very clear victory. I want this to be like an actual good match. I love these Scorch matches so much because they're always so interesting, so entertaining. I've always been a big fan of every single one of these teams, really, but especially I'm a big fan of Conduit Demon Time and Team Soul Invade, as well as Team To Be Determined. But besides that, obviously we are here. So I just, something about these teams, it's always so interesting to watch how they play, because it's nothing like anything that you would normally expect from a high-level league game. It's high enough where it's always interesting. Everybody is able to compete at a level that is, they're able to land most, if not all, of their abilities, but also there's an element of unexpectedness to these games because there's still a little bit of wiggle room on the understanding to the depth that the characters could truly be at. What is your opinion on just the understanding that these people really have for this game?
I mean, honestly, I think that this is some of the most entertaining League of Legends to watch because you're just good enough that there's a level of competency that doesn't dissuade from the entertainment. But there's not enough perfection that, you know, you get some absolute insanity, some craziness that you just didn't expect to be there. I think some of that craziness could be coming out quite shortly. Vrang definitely has to take a reset in the mid lane, but both junglers are pathing bot. J4 a little bit quicker than Wukong. And I think that means that he gets the Scuttle Crab for free, especially with mid priority as well. But Monkeys have usually been quite aggressive, but no, he knows he just, with no priority in the bottom lane and in the mid lane, there's just no room to get that crab, so Wukong has to make his way up to the top side. J4 doesn't, though, really think about it, so he's going to reset. I would have liked to see if he could use Orianna's mid priority and the fact that Vrang is on negative mana to just cross straight into the river and try and contest this other crab, but now Nivea's trading starting to go a little bit better. And because of that, Wukong should be fine to get this crab here. Orianna does have TP, though, if they do want to fight it.
We did see the Rebirth pop there by Nivea. Obviously, that is her passive there, that extra little revive. That's why we saw that health shoot up so definitively by Vrang here. Having that popped so early on in this matchup really creates a pressure here, as you could see as we see the Telephobia jumps in with that J4 just to get that forced back, finally forced.
Yeah, Anivia's in such a bad spot for this. That was a great gank timer, and now the wave is just atrociously set up. Obviously, Anivia got a CS lead already, but this is a great spot to kind of recoup for Orianna.
Yeah, the freeze is right there for that Ori, and it really puts J4 at the advantage on that top side of the map, especially since Aatrox is going to need a little bit of health against this Malphite, as this fight does continue with level advantage.
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know what Anivia is supposed to do here. The freeze is still being held. I think she's going to have to spend some time and really aggressively try and shove this wave. You see in the jungle there, Anivia is going to get that deep ward, is to try and spot J4 so she knows that she's safe to do that. So we'll see. But right now, Anivia is still in a really, really awful place.
Yeah, there's a lot of bot cryo here as well. We'll likely see J4 looking towards this dragon, especially with Shockwave popped here in this mid lane. Big trade coming through, and Tiger just body blocking the Anivia from actually being able to back up. The bird just cannot get through.
Yeah, Vrang was really thinking about the J4, but that's not your only worry. Anivia has a lot more damage than you right now, and had the Darksteel on the reset, so already 2 stacks of that. Fantastic stuff out of the Tiger in the mid lane, and for this combo that we talked about in draft, the J4 Orianna having to be potent, plus the fact that there's not all that much magic damage on the side of GCCe. Orianna getting strong and getting her lead independently and allowing J4 to find his lead elsewhere is really, really good news for GCCe.
Anivia is such a... It's a very vulnerable champion when you're playing against something like a J4. He's very easy to hop on everything, kind of stop that Anivia ultimate from going off very quickly and effectively, while also having the burst that is needed to actually kill the Anivia, or at least force the passive to go off. The disadvantage that we saw in that last fight was also the level 6 advantage. Almost dying here again, a little bit of a risky call that Yes took to that Orianna, almost picking her off, but unfortunately there was a little bit of cooldown advantage that Orianna has over that Anivia, allowing for Orianna to get a little bit too much poke that Yes didn't really want to deal with. We'll see him back here as well. But the canceled back, definitely going to stagger out those timers. Definitely making a big impact on this game. Not what you would want for this Bonsai team.
Rebecca, not even just that, but check out some of these CS numbers. It's almost a 30 CS deficit in the top lane. Obviously, Caitlyn, we expected to have this kind of CS lead, but the lanes right now are struggling. And Malphite trying to change that. The ultimate going in. It's close. The flash, no, actually, the burn from the Ignite is all he needs. And he finds the kill, but that was just so needed. Look at that CS deficit still. He is going to try and stay here, get that to shove into the turret. Taste does have the TP, so obviously you won't be able to deny all that much CS, but signs of life out of Monkeys, who have so far had a very quiet early game.
Yeah, that Malphite really showing that pressure that he really offers. Not getting a little bit
Wukong is here in great timing.
But we will see Wukong jumping in with that Cyclone.
And now Jinx is excited, can keep going forward. Karma does have the flash away, so should be able to escape, but a fantastic gank setup from the Wukong, and finds his second kill, and now Monkeys on the board on 2 opposite sides of the map.
Honestly, a really solid play from the Monkey squad here, showing the engage that they have, their team cooperation, that they can purposely utilize. Renata staying alive there despite the low health. That little bait that was pulled off onto that Karma really allowed for my team is muted really to get that damage off onto both Lily Coco and Queasy.
Orianna's gotta go. There's gonna be a lot of damage. Oh, the stun lands as well. Fernanda hits this handshake. I think it's just over. And Orianna, it's just disrespectful. Anivia flashes to follow, but you're already ticked with the passive, which means that it's an empowered Icicle, and Anivia finds a kill, and Orianna just disrespecting the fact that Renata there means you cannot contest. Now Wukong does not get the smite, and now trying to slam dunk onto it. Renata trying to turn it with the ultimate so far, but Wukong, oh, the bailout, oh, ticks just a little bit too early, so it will be a trade, but now Jinx getting a lot of damage onto Karma. Karma has to run, using the Mantra E to run herself away, but taking a lot of damage so far. The slow so far matters. I don't know how quick that next handshake is. Oh, but it gets dodged away from. Renata actually doesn't have any mana. Caitlyn gets the shield, and now Anivia 10 HP from getting the rebirth. The snipe from downtown should get it. Now Orianna is here. She has the shockwave, so they have to play carefully, playing with fire, and actually it looks like GCCe backing up. Oh! Beautifully done as Jinx finds the kill. 5-2 to Monkeys as Jinx online.
They don't call it Super Mega Death Rocket for no reason. It's always going to be an issue, and they just completely forgot about it, unfortunately. Big trade coming up here in top lane, but previously, though, in that last fight, the Renata did have a very nice hostile takeover. It just wasn't enough right off the bat on that early engage. They were trying to disengage, but unfortunately, they took up a lot of that damage from the Caitlyn, from the Karma. Karma got the dodge on that handshake, as you mentioned before, which allowed them to really turn the tide of that fight, allowing them to get out and Orianna to get in to be able to help just enough to really secure the advantage that they got from getting the Drake. So at the end of the day, even though big.
Remember, Orianna did use the flash already. The stun is there. Wukong doesn't even need to use the Cyclone and finds yet another one. This Wukong is off to the races. Is one of the only lanes that isn't severely behind in the CS department. Has been keeping up in camps, only 2 camps down and 3 kills on the board. Wukong is a rich man, and now he can make his way all the way up to these grubs. Will be able to take all 3. I don't think there should be a contest. No, J4 walking his way down. So fantastic stuff out of this mid-jungle duo. And Monkeys starting to earn themselves a bit of a gold lead. Now 1,000 gold up over GCCe.
This bot lane here, we'll notice, is extremely pushed up. J4 is likely going to be looking for some kind of engage here, especially with that wave right next to turret. We'll see the dive coming through. Not
Jinx
just
took a lot of damage,
unfortunately.
I think this dive is still gonna happen, and now it's gonna be on Renata. Renata just takes way too much damage here.
Yeah.
Now the Kate from downtown, and it's J4 that finishes it. The real question is if Jinx can get out alive. Wukong's on his way, and the TP is coming down. Monkeys is trying everything they can to save my team. Is muted the root. Oh, Caitlyn, you cannot give Jinx that. And now Anivia is here. They're all in the storm, but can they get the CC on anybody? Now finally the stun lands, and J4 will fall. Now Karma might be next. The slow from Jinx might be enough to Cyclone now there to lock her up, and the double kill goes over to Wukong. We said he was online, but now he's 5 kills deep as Monkeys go off to the races.
Now, Yes did back there to grab that Malignance before he ended up joining in that fight with the TP. The presence that Anivia offered, the extra shred, the extra damage, the extra everything that was able to provide to the team was able to turn that fight around with just a little bit of a little wall. The zoning power that this Anivia truly has demonstrated from, yes, playing quite a professionally adept Anivia that we aren't used to seeing very frequently, especially in this Scorch League. You know, this is not a champion that we're typically used to seeing very frequently. Although it's always a pleasure to watch for this very reason. Typically, most people would jump very definitively onto the Anivia, preventing it from getting too far ahead. But it seems like there might be a little bit of a struggle here that this Digidestined team is actually having to get on top of the Anivia to prevent her from dealing the damage that she is very clearly dealing.
Well, honestly, Rebecca, the biggest issue is the fact that this team comp is built to withstand the engage. Anivia by herself does that, but Renata, as a champ, follows within that same identity. Wukong is very versatile in that same way, so it is difficult to get damage on her. I think the big kind of linchpin for GCCe right now is this Orianna, as now a gank in the mid lane. Orianna does have the shockwave, uses it, pulls the egg away. I think they should make an omelet here, and they do find that, and great timing too, because there's only 10 seconds left until that Mountain Drake spawns. Wukong is down here, so we'll see if they try to contest, but I think it should be hard. 22 seconds until Anivia is back on the map, and no TP available. Malphite does have it if they want, but no, it looks like they will not contest, so well done. I was trying to say it, and Tiger beat me to it, but this Orianna getting the gold that she needs is really what GCCe wants to see. And in the 1v1 by themselves, the Orianna's been doing better. It's just every time someone shows up, it's been both of those deaths for the Tigers. So if the Tigers continue to do well in the 1v1 and shore up when everyone else is in the lane, then this could be very good for GCCe.
It looks like Bonsai is actually trying to engage onto this fight because obviously there aren't any ultimates up for the side of GCCe. So if they choose to engage on this, there might be a little bit of an advantage that is coming through here, but I don't think they're ending up actually going ahead and doing it. GCCe was trying to stall that out just to be able to get the smite back up. It was on cooldown for the majority of that timer, so they were trying to just wait, get it back up so they can then obviously smite the dragon. But if they had started a little bit sooner, the reason why they held off was because Wukong could have very easily kind of jumped in there, as he is quite fed to begin with. Also, the fact that his passive does grant him armor is going to be very difficult to try to fight that with. The V-Ring appears to be a little caught out here. Shockwave coming through, able to cancel that ult for the Anivia, and down they go. What a pick from the Tiger here, showing the dominance in this mid lane matchup. Quite a powerful performance, to say the least.
Yeah, I think there's two big points to see out of that. First is, it's kind of crazy that the last time Anivia died was from that shockwave, and it's back already. That is a much faster cooldown than I expected, and I'm sure Vrang felt the same. But how the CC lined up is right when Orianna's pulling the Anivia is when that Q has to be recast to stun. So the Q sails right past Orianna, and she can't find the stun. Without the passive, no stun, no time to flash because you're trying to be the aggressor, you're trying to find the kill, and Orianna just styles in the mid lane.
We'll see the Rift Herald being taken here, but on our screen right now, we can also see the gold graph for this game. Very interesting to actually see the difference between the beginning that GCCe actually had here, and then the turnaround point of that dragon fight. Big engage from the Cat. Flash is available. It will come through.
Pause. You gotta look down at the bottom river because J4 has to flash over the wall, but the cavalry is here. Wukong flashing forward. I think he should be able to find this. Yes, the Cyclone comes down, and now he's on a rampage. Orianna gets caught with a handshake, but the stun does not land out of Anivia, so Vrang does not find the follow-up CC, but still, well done by Vrang to get out of the gank and turn it around. I didn't think that was good timing out of the J4 because the entire rest of the map is there, and now they could be doing the same thing. Caitlyn, what are you doing? You see them on the river and you walk back up. Now, I don't know. We'll see it for now. I don't know if that hits. It does not hit.
It's not going to.
Just barely not. I don't know. That means
getting a little greedy here. She's stepping up really, really far.
Yeah. Oh! In the top side, looks like Malphite found a kill onto Aatrox. I'm curious how that happened. Both flashes are used, I think is a disrespect of that Ignite, how much more powerful you are in the lane. But still very well done now. Oh, Orianna. Oh no, the wall into the stun. Vrang finds the kill again, and it's a bloodbath in this mid lane. Time after time after time, trading blows, but this time, Vrang's on top.
Honestly, they just didn't respect that TP there, and Yes was just able to come in, surprise this Orianna, and honestly, the jump was on the Tiger this time as opposed to what you normally be seeing every day in the jungle. A little unfortunate of a situation, but definitely not the end of the world for this game. However, taking a look at this Wukong and Jinx lead might make you think otherwise. This lead is 3k just with them alone. The 500 gold in mid lane that Yes has over the Tiger also prevents a lot of turnaround possibility for this game. The fact that this Malphite is even in gold is also huge, given the fact that he's over almost 50 CS under Tace.
Yeah, I'm not a top lane enthusiast, so I don't know how this lane is supposed to go. And I'm sure that Malphite does have some kind of advantage because he just loves to stack the armor that makes it a lot harder for Aatrox to get meaningful damage. But I did not expect two different solo kills in the top lane from the Malphite. Obviously down a pretty significant amount of CS. You know, 40 CS is nothing to scoff at. But I don't really think that you should be giving up if you are 40 CS up. You shouldn't be giving up two solo kills. I think it just comes down to disrespecting what this Malphite is able to do. Like, look at all this damage. He actually could have an angle again. The ultimate's back up. Aatrox needs to just be walking away here. Oh no. The Q, the ult. I think it might be enough. No, he's just gonna sit here in auto, but the W comes back off a cooldown. This is just disrespectful out of Taste, and he falls for a third time. That's 3 different solo kills in the top lane for the World Ender.
I don't think that was necessarily a matter of disrespect. Aatrox versus Malphite is typically a very defensive 1v1. You know,
I'd agree,
both sides
but
are going to be
play
playing.
Didn't look defensive.
No, it wasn't. So the issue was the fact that Aatrox ended up stepping up a little bit too far. It wasn't necessarily a disrespect, though. It was the fact that they didn't understand the full capacity of Malphite's engage due to the movement speed that he gets from the Q. It's just not expected to be engaging so fast, especially with the tier 1 boots. But the slow from the Frostfire Gauntlet was able to add on top of that, preventing Aatrox from actually being able to get out. Which most of the time, Aatrox is a very easy champion to be able to disengage with, especially with the movement speed from his ultimate. But unfortunately, it just wasn't there this time because they were not there time.
I saw more than one opportunity where Aatrox turned back around. I think that.
Oh no, at the very end, absolutely. I completely agree with
Aatrox,
you.
well, this is the third solo kill that we've seen in the top lane. I think Aatrox needs to either find his way to solo lane against Anivia. I'm not sure if that matchup sounds all that much more enjoyable, but clearly the Malphite one's not going great. Or you have to start actually posturing defensively, and it doesn't just mean trading defensively. It means stop trading. If you're losing all the trades, don't trade. And it's starting to become a pretty bad issue, because remember, your team is mostly AD damage, and obviously Orianna has gotten a little bit of gold in her pocket, but Malphite getting a lot of gold on his own will be problematic for GCCe, and they have to stem the bleeding, and I think it starts in this top jungle, because Wukong and Malphite are off to the races.
I did mention before a little bit that once this Malphite does come online with the levels, there is a decisive advantage that he has over this Aatrox. We saw the advantage that the Aatrox had in that early matchup, simply because he is such a powerful early game champion, especially with that Concord. But the Arcane Comment ends up coming through as soon as the Aatrox actually gets online. The Darksteel purchase was a huge benefit to this Malphite, specifically because he had the 1v1 advantage of level 6. Once Malphite reaches level 6, the potential that the Malphite has for the outplay is huge. But the big stun that comes through onto this Karma is going to be able to get her picked off with the Wukong follow-up. Not respecting that Anivia is going to be able to be your death, guys. That bird is frozen solid when it comes to freezing people in place with that CC. The pick potential is there every time. Speaking of pick potential, big stun going through on that Anivia. However, with backup not coming just yet, she's a little worried with given that shockwave is up for Orianna.
Yeah, we saw the Anivia disrespect that earlier when the Tiger got, I think that was the third kill that Tiger got. So obviously this time deciding better of walking back into it, but a great kill in the mid lane. And I thought Karma was going to get the big heal out of the Mantra W, but it actually died before that could even come down, which is just mind-boggling how much damage this Anivia does. She's not really built a ton of AP yet. Malignance for the ult cooldown. Seraph's is a defensive item, but Anivia just is that strong. But obviously, Orianna does a lot of damage too. Shockwave is here. I think Anivia has to be very careful here. Oh, the stun is huge. Oh, and he finds the kill. Now Karma behind, but the snipe will... Oh no, it's just so over. Malphite, I don't think that he can save this egg from getting chopped. He will use the ultimate to try and escape himself, but the TP to save the day is for naught. He will try and run his way away, and that he will. And now, they have to run their way up to Baron. It's coming down quite low. Down to half HP already, but I don't know. The contest is here, and J4 still has the ultimate. The slam dunk over the top. Wukong is so low, but he's got the steal. And now the Cyclone might not be enough as J4 flashes over the wall and finds the kill onto Wukong. He got the Baron. He got the jungler, and now his team can clean up. Caitlyn finds another one. Malphite using his Q to run his way away, but a fantastic counter engage from GCCe. They steal the Baron. They steal 3 kills. Karma stays alive through the Super Mega Death Rocket. And now Malphite and Jinx have to try and mount a 4 versus 2 defense on this tower.
Watch this Malphite ult though. Malphite ultimate is actually coming up. They're trying to wait it out to be able to get the Karma here, but I don't think it's going to come up just in time, because here comes it up. But unfortunately, Aatrox has already gotten that
he's looking off. They should find it, yes.
Unfortunate that Anivia was right there to stop the wall from going through. Stop the Aatrox from going through the wall. Malphite barely lives there. A little bit too much of a greedy play from this Aatrox, trying to get that Malphite just barely mistimed. Unfortunately, with that Malphite ult coming up, as I mentioned before, it really did turn the tiding, allowing for that unstoppable ability to prevent the knockup on the Malphite. The Aatrox would then be able to follow up on.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight so far for GCCe. Obviously, Monkeys were able to get 1 kill back, and Malphite, the ultimate, time and time again, has been incredibly useful. But now this Drake, both teams, this is going to be the first team fight that it feels like both teams are fully postured for. We saw one that was almost brewing when Anivia got picked before the last Drake, but they decided not to contest it. So this one could mean a lot. We've seen how bloody it is in the skirmishes, so I'm sure the team fight will be no different. Jinx getting that mid lane priority so the team can walk by. Anivia can't walk that way, and she may get caught, but the double stun is huge in the wall. Karma's trying to flash over to catch, but the blast cone, and now Karma is just out in no man's land, gets stunned, and Anivia should find this kill, and Karma falls down, just way over aggressive to try and hunt down that Anivia pick, and now GCCe fighting not only 3k down, but oh, the Malphite finds 2, and the stun locking them up for Renata ultimate. Jinx finds 2 immediately with the splash of the rockets, and it's 3 quick kills for Literal Monkeys, as now they can find themselves a Drake, a second Infernal. And with so many off the map, they can also try and make a push. I think they should start to be walking down the base, and that they will as they all start to accumulate in the mid lane.
I think there was an opportunity here after that Baron fight. A lot of gold and a lot of assistance. Ooh.
That is a big catch. Not only is Orianna dead, but only 20 seconds left until Aatrox is back. 40 until Orianna is back. She is so disconnected from the rest of the team, and I'm not sure if Monkeys will be able to look for an end here. But now, all these structures are going to fall down because Orianna just walks in a jungle that's no longer hers and finds out why it's not. And Orianna got herself a lead. She just needed to hold on to it. And now Monkeys, they find themselves an inhibitor turret. They do not get the inhibitor, nor do they get this top lane tier 2 at first, but they'll clean out the jungle in the meantime. J4 with the Oracle Lens watching as the rest of his jungle walks his way away, but Monkeys now ballooned their lead.
There was a big play there that happened because of the overextended and the overstayed welcome that GCCe had. Unfortunately, right after that Baron, the Baron had so much value for GCCe at the very beginning of that little kerfuffle. But unfortunately, because they overstayed for so much extra time, they stayed out. They didn't get the back with all of that gold that they had from that fight. They weren't able to get the items that they needed to be able to fight for that dragon, and ended up overstaying because of it. So I really think that that little change, they had an opportunity to come back, and I think that they kind of threw that one away by not backing sooner right after that Baron fight.
Yeah, I agree. They were well behind on tempo. And to be honest, even despite that, I think their approach to that dragon fight was not the correct one. They looked for the pick, and I appreciate looking for the pick. Anivia was walking the wrong way, although she was able to get out, and obviously the chase was just too far, but coming in through bot lane is a lot harder than coming in through mid. Especially when you're on the deficit. I think getting your mid lane priority with a Baron that you have, and then walking your way in through river makes it so much harder, because if you decide, hey, I can't fight this, it's only the other team's second Drake, then you can start to push for towers instead. But instead, by coming in from the bottom side, it's a lot harder to do that. So they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, so to speak, and Malphite does punish finally too.
I just feel like this Karma's getting too greedy here. Time and time again, the ultimate does come through, Cataclysm goes through, and so there's not enough.
I can drag through 3, but now he will fall to the Anivia. Caitlyn has to run for the hills, but Jinx is already excited, flashing past the Orianna Shockwave, and Jinx will get the triple kill. Only one survives, and Orianna trying to reset, but that could be it. They have the wave, they have all 5. I don't think Orianna has all that much left to say about it. The Shockwave already used. The cooldown, obviously, very short, only 45-second cooldown at this point, but I don't know if Orianna is left for this world all that long. Malphite walking away, Anivia, the wall doesn't land, but if you're walled in your base, it doesn't really matter, as the Nexus towers are still gonna fall, and the Nexus sure to follow Karma up just to watch it happen. Monkeys Bonsai take a commanding Game 1 win.
Not honestly as close as I would have liked, but unfortunately for GCCe, that turnaround did come through for Monkey Bonsai, and if they're looking to be able to get the next victory at the very least, They need to make sure that they are utilizing the lead that they have early on and not overstaying that extra time to lose the tempo from the little advantages that they get, because Monkey's Bonsai really does benefit from the tempo advantage that they typically have over other teams. Like, that is what they excel at. That is what they are so strong at doing in this league. And if you want to be able to shut down the Bonsai squad, you need to come in and try to play a little bit either faster or safer, because they are going to win if you try to engage onto them. If you aren't fully prepared for stuff like your Nivea or Malphite or even Wukong, these counter engaged champions that just don't allow people like a J4 or an Orianna to be able to come through and engage at the right time.
Yeah, and I think obviously how the draft ended up shaking out, I think the core that Monkeys built had very good answers to what GCCe was looking for, but I also think at the end of the day it came down to execution, and Monkeys Bonsai's execution was very clean, and GCCe has a little bit of cleaning up to do. I think the tempo is a fantastic point. I would give a lot of credit to Middies in the support role for commanding his team in that regard. But you have to be on strong tempo, and if that means slowing down to make sure you give what you have to give, then so be it. If that means you go faster, but as soon as you win that fight, you reset, so all the gold you just earned is in your pockets and actually spent, then that is another way to do it as well. But we'll see if GCCe can go back to the drawing board and come in with a little bit of a different answer in Game 2, as we will be right back for Monkeys Bonsai versus GCCe. Stay tuned.
Oh, broken dreamer, is your mind? For all the scars, let's leave them behind. We'll light the world up now, let us fire in your eyes. To the darkness, into the night. Oh, broken dreamer, is your mind? For all the scars, let's leave them behind. We'll light the world up now, let us fire in your eyes. To the darkness, into the night. Put your fucking hands up. The wolf, she cries at night. A breath had born in the black wind where the shadows lie. Deep inside despair, our hearts grow fierce, our minds aware. We carry on, oh, we carry on, carry on. We carry on, oh, we carry on, we carry It's always darkest before the dawn. It's always quiet before the storm.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Ember Scorch League playoff first match of the season. Now, we just witnessed Bonsai in a pretty decisive victory over Digidestined here. However, I do think and I hope that Digidestined is going to come back here and see just how powerful they can be against this Bonsai roster, who I am, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they haven't lost a single match this whole season.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they are still sitting undefeated. And obviously we saw a little bit of why in that last game. It's just a very decisive team. But I think actually no, they have lost 2 games, not two no series, but two games. And this game could be number 3. You never know. GCCe locking in the Jace to answer the Pantheon. Pantheon being a flex for monkeys. I don't know how many roles, but obviously more commonly is either support or jungle. So we'll have to see where that goes. And then Jace, kind of an interesting answer, but now GCE also hovering and locking flex of their own in the Maokai.
I do think that this Pantheon, this is going to be the pick that we're going to truly see just the versatility that this Monkey Bonsai team has, since it will literally go wherever they want it to go. So many people on this Bonsai team are capable of playing this Pantheon, whether it be Audit, whether it be the World Ender, whether it be even Mac Mittens. I still feel like anybody on this squad could really play this champion to a sufficient level, especially since it is a relatively simpler champion. Although I don't think like that would be a good way of minimalizing the skill that these people have on this champion. Kai Select in here though, obviously a very strong pick that my team has shown time and time again, that hyper carry, the hyper scaling that we see. But the hovering of the Nasus.
Oh, they did it. Oh god. This Nasus, especially right now on the patch, it's mostly solo lanes. It's back to farming because of how they reorganize how many stacks he gets for jungle camp versus minions. But it is the most disgusting horror to exist on the Rift. It is just so strong at so many points of the game. It's not this like be quiet and farm laner. I mean, obviously the early levels are still Nasus levels, but this champ is just so gross. And I do love the answer of the Xayah here for GCCe. You know, Pantheon Kaisa, you're making it pretty clear what you're planning on doing. You're jumping in and you're trying to kill him. So Xayah, I think, is a great answer now going into bans.
I would love to see this Pantheon go top lane against Jace. I think that should be the call here. But I don't know. With Nasus recently being nerfed with his lifesteal, if it'll still be as powerful as they're looking for here.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Nasus in the jungle right now. But I also think it's pretty dependent on matchup. His early game is a little bit more abusable. His scaling in stacks is a bit slower than it used to be. With the rest of the champs that Monkeys has picked, it doesn't feel like a Nasus jungle fits that kind of identity more as much as like a top lane one would. But of course, we'll have to see. And now for bans, it looks like Bonsai, Casio. I would suggest another mid ban, and it will be, yeah, standard control mages for Bonsai. And for GCCe, trying to stop that point and click CC that really makes it just impossible to play. You hit one point and click, and then Pantheon lands, and then Kai'Sa's flying in, and it's just going to spell doom for somebody. And all those counter engage angles or counter engage champions that are in the game, a lot of them were picked last game by Monkeys. So I think that those are some very well-educated bans for GCCe.
This Xayah, the counter engage that Xayah is able to exert is just so powerful. Now with the Ahri in counter as well to that Kai'Sa Pantheon, I feel like Kai'Sa is going to really struggle here to be able to dodge everything that this Digidestined team is actually able to output, especially if they pick another point and click CC champion or somebody who can just demolish them. I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of enchanter here, though, as the support, since we do have that Maokai. However, I'm not too sure though. I feel like they need something like a Nautilus, but obviously Nautilus is banned. So, what do you think that could be really placed against, especially the Leona that has now been selected here, so that we know Pantheon is not going to be the support?
Yeah. Well, first off, on the monkey side, I like the Leona. Obviously, it's easier to talk about the boring stuff. No offense to my monkeys guys, but it's pretty obvious what you're doing. For support here,
Ooh.
I don't know.
Huh?
The Renekton, so that's the Nasus Smith. That is a Nasus Smith.
It could be a Pantheon mid, to be fair.
Technically, I guess they can flip flop, but I guess that'd be where I put my money. I'm not a big fan of this Ahri pick. I think already with Pantheon Nasus, you had a lot of tanky, and Xayah being a short range AD carry, you may be struggling to cut through these tanky HP bars. And then Little Monkey saw that and said, "How about more of them?" and dropped Leona Renekton. So I'm a little bit worried about the damage output. I do like this Jax pick. Does well into a good amount of their champs. You know, I think it kind of doesn't care as much what champ is in the top lane. Or what champ is in the mid lane. I am still a little bit worried about their damage output. And Maokai may feel like he needs to build some AP just because Ari as a solo AP does not sound all that great. But really an interesting draft. It's not necessarily what I would have expected. What do you think, Rebecca?
No, I definitely wouldn't have. I feel like they just were like, let's just pick from the top row of champions. Let's pick top laners and just only pick top laners, except for like the stereotypical ADCs and a random Ari thrown in there with Leona. These are just, they're all very solo oriented champions, with the exception of, obviously, as I mentioned before, but these are champions that they're trying to do this as if they're expecting the duels to occur. I don't know if Digidestined has the mechanical ability to really counteract this Bonsai squad, but I don't really know. I This might be how they excel. They might be better mechanically and micro wise than this Bonsai squad, who is known for their team cooperation, their macro plays, which that might be how they counteract the macro. Win the duels. That way you don't have to worry about the team fights later on in the game because they're going to be behind.
Yeah, I guess I like that. I like that concept. My issue, I guess, is if you are planning on doing that, I would have picked champions that kind of synergize with that a little bit more. Jackson, Jace do, but the Zion Ari maybe not so much. I really, really not the biggest fan of the Ari pick. As a mid lane player and as an Ari player, I would hate to be the Ari in this game. Is all your charms just feel like they do nothing. I think the two options available to us, I couldn't see the Renekton going mid. But Nasus can technically still jungle, and as obviously Pantheon is probably be where I expect it to be, would be jungle. But Nasus getting nerfed in the jungle, I think this is suggesting a Nasus mid more than likely. And Ari can do okay in the first 3 levels. But after that, her game becomes really hard. She'd have to will have to be building full burn, and you are really looking for GCCe to get massive leads in the early game, because I feel like their comp kind of requires that much in terms of how these 5-on-5s will go. So we'll see if they can do that in the early game against Little Monkey's Bonsai, that is obviously been a force to be reckoned with in the league. But if anyone's going to put them up to the test, GCCe in this game could be exactly that. We'll be right back before we get onto the Rift for Game 2.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Game 2 of the first playoffs match of Ember Scorch League. Monkeys Bonsai has elected, or has been able to take this blue side here, as we'll see GCCe Digidestined on our red side. Now, our first game that we saw here today was a very Bonsai favored matchup. We had Drakes being taken, the Grubs were taken very early on. It was very decisive, but early game, Digidestined actually was able to show up and play very... Speaking of showing up very early, though.
What the?
Bonsai...
I don't like that play. Not only did they know that the ward was there, so they're in the furthest bush, right? I do understand the concept. I think Pantheon would love the early gank. And Kaisa getting off to the races is huge for this team. But it does make Pantheon a little bit slower. Actually, a good amount slower. And I think when you're against a champion like Jace, where you're not all that confident that his clear speed is going to be all that fast, I would have prioritized getting through my first clear and getting on the map faster. And now look at Jace. Jace is going to be trying to invade onto these Raptors. This is a fantastic idea, and Ahri is ready for it. Oh, wait, we have to go. No, does Jace get it? So Jace does get it. Okay, we don't see it on the camera, but Jace does collect these Raptors here. And now Pantheon's in a really awkward spot. Jace has to try and read if Pantheon's going to try and go straight to his top side, or if he has time to go to his bottom camps, which I think he should go to top side first, and it looks like Jace will do that. And now Jace is going to have a big advantage. This is actually huge because Ahri has that early lane priority over the melee Nasus.
Big duel coming out here as well that we saw on this matchup. The Jax versus Renekton early level advantages that came out on the side of Jax. Big flash comes through with the ignite, but I don't...
Nope. Oh my god.
I don't think he gets that one.
Was that?
But very low coming out. World Ender appeared to get jumped a little there, and I wasn't even expecting it.
Yeah, I don't think either of them were. I think if Taste got one more auto, Nasus doing good work. I don't think he should be able to do this. I think if he popped Ghost to be able to get that last Q, could have been different. But Nasus in solo lanes has been a monster so far this patch. But for GCCe and for the good spellings of this early game, Jace getting that invade here is awesome. You see Pantheon on the top side jungle. He's trying to walk in. He's just a little bit too late because Jace has already cleared his entire top side. Now Jace can reset, take his bot camps, and be up a camp advantage over Pantheon. And in the meantime, of course, Ahri a little bit behind, had to burn the early TP, but Jax did fantastic too. Xayah, even though isn't necessarily known as a lane bully, is doing well. So far, GCCe's early games doing much better.
You did mention before the bad spelling. I think it's very ironic. The Atelophobia actually spelled his name wrong. Atelophobia, for those of you who don't know, is the fear of imperfection. And then, ironically, spelled the name wrong. I feel like that was purposeful, though.
I feel like that's
Speaking of the...
Must be.
Yeah, it has to be, surely. But surely the imperfection will be limited with just that on this matchup specifically, we hope, because I'd like to see this game go, or at least this series go a lot farther than just...
This is taking a lot of damage here, man. And Jace is here. See, I don't really like the Doran's Helm Start. I think the Doran's shield is kind of... Oh, the charm is gorgeous. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, Jace is a monster. This early invade, now he's here on the reset of the camp. So he's able to get it a second time. And while he's there, he just so happens to snipe out Vrang. Jace has the ability here to take over this game. He'll get the Scuttle Crab as well. Pantheon is homeless. And if you want this series to go the distance, Jace has the keys to the car.
Shock Blast with Acceleration Gate just has so much extra range that there's nothing you can do to really get away from it. Nasus will be able to back and buy that Sheen, so hopefully that'll give him a little bit of extra bonus, just survivability, as well as a little damage. But there's a lot of harass that is coming out in this bot lane, just from Maokai onto Leona. the poke that the little saplings have, it's a lot more than you would expect. Sapling toss is just not an ability that you want to underestimate in any circumstance, and unfortunately it looks like they actually are a little bit more than you like.
Jax is doing well so far on this top side. Pressured aggressively with the level 6, but now Pantheon is here. This gank is gonna happen whether he likes it or not. He's still not aware about it, and now the stun, oh, it's just way too late on the information. Jax has no ability to outplay it, and that is a kill secured for Renekton, who, frankly, let's call it how it is, would really like that kill and is happy to have gotten it because the lane wasn't going all that well. Jax, of course, has counter pick, but World Ender will be very, very happy to get that, get the wave in, maybe get a plate on the way. Looks like he will be able to. So well done by Pantheon to still be useful, even though Jace has really made his game difficult.
Yeah, I don't know if this Renekton is really going to want to take too much here, try to get that tempo, but unfortunately it does look like he's overstayed a little bit longer than he probably should have, a little bit greedy on trying to get that last turret, on that second, I guess, turret plating. But there's not too
okay
much that's really happening. The only real fights we've had were the one onto Ring and the one that on that last fight that we saw with the Renekton Jax. There wasn't really too much that we've seen. It feels
the charm again.
Ari.
Oh, flash forward for Jace. He does find the kill, and Ari has just been doing so much work in this mid lane. Nasus just has the flash. He flashed away this time, but it has to be before the charm lands. If the charm lands and with your flash still up and available, then you've done it wrong, and that is 2 times he has died before flashing the charm. Oh, huge root. Kaitsa ults away. She finds the kill. She finds the outplay in the 2v1. Leona wasn't even there, but now she found herself in with the Zenith Blade. The W does a lot of damage. Zaya with the ult doesn't have the flash, and the CC's still there. It's gonna be one more auto, and she finds it. Wow, well done. Jace was close to getting there in time to save the day, but a bloodbath in the bottom lane.
Just felt really greedy. The overextend from the Maokai underneath the turret, Wing in to go untargetable, just felt like it was a little extra that they didn't really need. The Twisted Advance was not really utilized to dodge the turret shots like it could have been utilized. But meanwhile, this mid lane, I want to just mention how good Tiger has been time and time again about landing these charms. I feel like they have been missing any of them, honestly. Just landing time. I feel like Nasus isn't staying safe enough in these matchups. I wonder if it's going to end up being negative for him, but he is at 164 stacks.
Oh, another one.
So
every time we pan, there's another charm landing. Jax does have to kind of run here. The stun's going to land. I don't know if Jax has enough to get out of here. Renekton dashing forward, and it will be the Q. Nasus, we're still staying. I feel like this is overly greedy, and Ari just ults forward. I don't know what to call that one. I can't really say anything nice, so I'll have to say nothing at all. But Ari with yet another kill in the mid lane. This time, Jace didn't need to help. So Jace still on tempo. And let's talk about that jungle, because, hold that thought, Zaya does have the cleanse to get out. Now the Zenith Blade will go forward, but Zaya taking so much damage already. But no, Maokai does save the day. And now pushing them off. So yes, it will be safe for the Zaya, but take a look at this jungle matchup. He already has the Voltaic, so far ahead of the curve. Plus, what is that, 15 CS, 16 CS, 4 camps? Jace could get involved a little more. I'd like to see it, because he could run this game over.
He's already been involved for so much already. Then the presence that he's brought to this mid lane fight has just knocked down this Nasus. Unfortunately, I feel like it's not happening fast enough. There's just too many stacks that this Nasus has collected over the course of this game so far. He's already at 200 stacks at about 9 minutes 30 seconds, which obviously with that recent buff to the stacks in lane is more feasible, but it's definitely still the same lethality. Jace showing up here a little bit earlier than I think they wanted to. They weren't exactly set up for that gank just yet, but it will get the invade though. A lot of extra value going to that.
Nasus still walked up, but this time the charm doesn't land. That's the big difference here. I think Vrang would have honestly been close to going down if the charm did land, because remember, Jace being as ahead of the curve, already with the completed item, it would have been a lot of damage. But when the charm doesn't land, that gank goes very differently. Of course, Pantheon was there just in case, but Crisis avoided in the mid lane.
Pantheon's down 770 gold here. You can just see the sheer pressure that this Jace has been able to bring to this game. I kind of underestimated it, honestly. I haven't seen it as much as I like, but well, what's going on in the mid here?
The ultimate again. He's now a trade of ultimates. Nasus did use his just to try and stay alive. Hasn't used the ghost yet, but already dashing forward, and the trading is going well, but oh, the shock blast down all the way in the jungle. Now, Renekton trying to flash away, but the ignite isn't enough. Oh, barely out from under the turret, and Taze gets the solo kill, gets away. And on both solo lanes, GCCe are firing back.
This is exactly the kind of plays that you are looking for after being not so hot after the very early game on the last game, but now...
Oh, Pantheon looking aggressive on the bottom side. Kai'Sa rooted up so far, but so much damage already, and now Kai'Sa with the killer instinct finds the first kill. And Maokai on the wrong side of the map. You got nowhere to run. The W does get some damage on, but flashes away. Is Nasus here to try and stop the escape? I'm not sure if he will be in time. He's using the ghost here. This has to be too far. Jace and Ahri are both on the way, and now Nasus is on the wrong side of the map. They're flashing in, they're trying to go forward, but Nasus is already dead, and Leona will be soon to follow. Kai'Sa didn't even follow. She thought it was a surefire kill, but Monkeys fall. 2 more dead on the Rift, and GCCe continue to make their comeback in game 2.
That is a 2.2k gold lead that GCCe has actually gained here in this second game. Such a big difference of play style and skill than the previous game that we saw before. This Jace has been dominating the map, but meanwhile in top lane, what? No, never mind. I thought that was gonna be a little bit more of a skirmish there. I apologize.
That's all right. I think
you're
gonna get your wish sooner rather than later, because Jax just jumped back in, and there is a jungler here, but Jax does a lot of damage. He has a flash to find the stun onto 2, but can Pantheon and Leona catch up and trade it even? No, the stun does not land from Leona's solar flare, but they're both still here. I don't know if Jax has the jump away. He will try his best. There's a flash to follow out of Pantheon, and there will be the kill trade. So 1 for 1, but you know, credit where credit is due to Taze. Finds the outplay in the 1v2, gets the kill, but does eventually go down.
It does look like they're going to be able to get this Ocean Drake as a result of that last little bit of skirmish. And Pantheon is
Where are we going? What are we doing here? He's going to get the stun, but I don't think it's going to matter. She has 2 dashes left, only needs 1 to find the kill. And Pantheon has to know, after the mid wave is pushed, you just cannot walk there. And does get punished. Now Nasus will try and get some trading onto Ahri, but again, every time Nasus has done this, who else has been there? It's been Jace, time and time again. He gets the flash, but look who's here! And now Jace with so much damage. The charm did land, just to point that out, but Jace get another kill, 5 on the board for him. And now, don't think bot lane's gonna fight, thankfully, so I can get a break here. Jace, 5 kills deep. It's now, what, a 4 and change K gold lead for GCCe.
Honestly, I was expecting a little bit more, but it seems like the only saving grace that this Monkey's current team has is the Leona and Kai'Sa in this bot lane. The only team that actually, the only people who are actually ahead of their laners. But if they want to be able to do this, they can't keep pushing up this far ahead and taking the poke.
Renekton's got to listen. He can't stay here. Oh my god, he stays here. We gotta know that's gonna happen. This Jax is insane. The damage is just ridiculous. You saw that was 2 different trades back to back where Jax just chunked Renekton to hell. And now, we will hit a pause. Right back into it. Jace not being here will be very important. The pause after the pause, classic. But Jax has been insane. That time, his tower dive didn't require the ignite. So he doesn't even need to do anything. He's gonna get maybe an entire tower here. He will get the top lane tower once he starts hitting it. And this top side of the map is going crazy for GCCe. The only advantage, like you said, is this Kai'Sa, but Kai'Sa can't do it all on her own. She is incredibly short-ranged, so she needs her team to be stronger than they are. And a 0-6-0 Nasus in the mid lane is not bad.
The fact that Jace just picked up Bastion Breaker, it feels a little targeted. I feel like that wasn't necessarily necessary, but we'll see Jace really showing the power that Hammer has against turrets. Unfortunately, the light that... What are we seeing here?
Oh, the CC chain is just ridiculous. And now, oh, Jace from downtown finds the kill. This was the lane that we said had an advantage, but Jace just cleaned them up. Disgusting work out of Atelophobia as they find not only the double kill, Ahri's here as well, so they'll get the siege in addition to it. And everywhere you look, GCCe is winning.
Jace over here showing a brighter tomorrow against the solar flare of Leona. Unfortunately not able to stop him from being able to smash down with the Hammer of Justice. All of that power truly being utilized, but looks like Jax might be in... Well, honestly, he's in a really good spot here. He's still probably gonna
turn this one around. They do have both CC, but so far, Jax has been doing them good. The E is gonna land onto both, and he does find the damage, but Leona is there, trades the kill, but it does go onto Leo. You know, you really don't like, especially when you're already falling down 6,000 gold behind. You don't want 300 of that going onto your support, especially for the second time this game. But a trade once again, Jax 4-4, but every time he's died, he's taken someone down with him and brought multiple members up to that top side.
This is your standard top laner fight. You know, you never go down without one other person to go with you. And the fact that it's the Pantheon here is just going to enable this mid-fight.
Look at Kai'Sa's HP bar. That was one shockwave. That was a single shockwave.
From Jace?
Yeah.
To the skies, indeed. And to hell and back, apparently. All that damage really coming through. Ahri will have to ult here just to get away from Nasus, but Nasus is at 420 stacks here, 17 minutes into the game. I don't know if that is enough to be able to turn the tides of this entire game, but if they want to win this, that 3k gold lead is going to have to shrink quite a bit, and that's just on Ahri alone. She's already purchased that, the first component, the Grievous Wounds for Morellonomicon, and that has just made such a big impact so that Nasus really isn't able to do more than just purchase that early Spirit Visage because of all the magic damage that's been going out.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in this top river, but on the bottom side, it looks like Nasus not long for this world again. Ahri does actually get close. She had to flash away. No, she had to R away. She still has flash. But Nasus falling yet again. And really, the beauty of that is because the map is so strong, it doesn't matter that your jungle is showing on the bottom side because monkeys are not in a position to start this Rift Herald. And they're
really, going to be able to get the dragon too.
They can't. And now, not only are they going to get the dragon, but it's the third one. They're on soul point already. It's only 18 minutes into the game. You know, if monkeys are going to come back into this, it's going to be on the back of Kai'Sa and Pantheon, really, to find picks. But where do you find a pick? Because look at this map. It is dark. Midi's going to try and work his way through the jungle to get wards down, but Maokai is doing a great job of clearing them all out. And you need to find somewhere to plant your feet in the soil and get a pick, get two, find a way to get a tower, get a bounty off the map, because you are just falling ever further behind.
It looks like we might be seeing a little bit of a jump in this mid lane. Xayah is a little overextended, but I don't know if there's going to necessarily be an opportunity here, especially with Jace and Jax right next to her. There's a lot of value that comes, but not necessarily on the Xayah. I don't know if that's your best target here, however, it is like the only target you can really go after. But even then, she has so much heal for her, as well as the survivability of the Featherstorm. Who do you focus?
Well, I have the bad answer and I have the good answer, right? Ideally, it's the Jace. Jace has a lot of gold, but none of it is in resistances, and he's not nearly as hard to get on top of as something like Jax that blocks all your point and click CC, or the Xayah with an ultimate, Ahri with her dashes. It's really the only character that you're super confident that you kill if you find him when you're stacked in a bush. But for monkeys, what the real answer is whoever walks up, because beggars cannot be choosers, and you are not the one in the driver's seat, so you have to hope that you have enough damage there, and whichever one is there, you try your best. And that is really the name of the game when you have fallen as behind us.
Beggars cannot be choosers. I don't think I could have said it better myself, especially when they're playing a very heavy pick champ pool here. You got Renekton, Pantheon, both champions who need to get their stuns off to really be able to benefit their team when they're this far behind.
This 2v1, Nasus has to be fuming, because every time, in all honesty, he's started to look like he does a lot of damage into this Ahri. He is stacking. He has the ghost just about to come up, but it is never a 1v1. Jace will be here, and to be honest, I feel like maybe you can't. Oh, they're actually looking forward in the mid lane. I don't know if this is really the look. Pantheon's just a little bit too late, and Xayah still hasn't used, now has, but the damage is under tower. Do they find it? Yes, they do. Leona surviving for now, but no, she will survive in full. But Jace is on the way. The cavalry is going to arrive. They flash forward onto the Maokai. Leona does not land the Zenith Blade, and the Shock Blast is not the same. It does land. Pantheon not long for this world, as well as he will fall to Tace. And it is a 2-for-1, but your jungle falls 21 minutes into the game. What is that spell? It's always Baron. Nasus, all he can do is stack in the bottom lane, as they will get themselves the big purple one.
And they got 2 minutes left before this Soul Point does come up with the Hextech Drake. I feel like once they get Hextech, this is kind of a, I hesitate to say it, but a done deal. I feel like once you have a Jax, a Jace, and a Xayah alone with the Hextech Drake, that's 3 champions who are they're able to utilize the Hextech Drake so easily. The extra little slow that it provides with the bouncing electricity, the extra attack speed, the ability haste. What is Renekton doing here?
I don't know, but I don't think he wants to be found. I think if Jax found him a little bit sooner, it would have been scary for him. Leona is on the way here. They may be looking for a play, but I don't really think there's a play to be made. And if you look at the mid lane, the siege is coming. The Baron is here. Xayah is shredding through this tower. And the Rift Herald is in the bottom lane, so they're actually going to be looking for a play in the mid lane. Maokai taken down quite low so far. CC'd, and it will be a kill. Pantheon's actually the one to collect that. Not sure if that's exactly what you want. Oh, the Bending and the turning out of Jace. He will get this crash into the mid lane. They're trying to find a pick on a Jax as well, but I don't think you have the chase here.
He didn't actually get to that turret. He elected to try to turn around for some reason. I'm not too sure about the reasoning, but whatever that might have been, it was questionable at best. However, I think he's far enough ahead where it really doesn't make a big difference. Obviously, it helps. But you got Drake coming up here in 5 seconds. This is Soul Point. It's pretty decisive. It's going to go this way. There is no jungler to be able to defend or steal this. Guardian Angel purchased when he backs off, just giving away that Drake. There's no contest at all, and not much you can do, especially against such a decisive gold advantage on this GCCe Digidestined squad so far in this game.
You're going to give up Drake. You're going to all be on the wrong side of the map. You might as well try and look for one. The Solar Flare, a little bit of anti-synergy there, but it doesn't matter. You have 4 people. There's no way Jack's going to get out of this, right? There's no way, right? The shot
Surely
was disgusting, and Kaisa falls, and that might just be it. Now, finally, Renekton dashing his way away. The GA getting some use before he falls for a second time, but Monkeys couldn't kill a single soul. Nasus resetting in the bottom side to try and defend his base. It was a 4-for-0 for GCCe.
Zaya wasn't even there in that fight. She wasn't even needed. Speaking of Zaya, Thunderstorm coming through to kill that Nasus. That's just done and dusted there.
I don't think I saw Nasus there.
Nah, 760 stacks is not enough, apparently, with 24 minutes in, despite the very effective stacking. Yes is just not able to do enough. Yes, I hate to say it, but no, not this game. We'll be going to another game 3 here with a 13.2 goal lead for GCCe Digidestined in a big game and possibly series turning victory here that might just spell the doom of monkeys here.
fucking hands up. The wolf, she cries at night. A breath had born in the black wind where the shadows lie. Deep inside despair, our hearts grow fierce, our minds aware. We carry on, oh, we carry on, carry on. It's always darkest before the dawn. It's always quiet before the storm. We are not afraid. We journey on the road to tomorrow that hope has been. We carry on, oh, we carry on, carry on.
Welcome back, everyone. After an interesting second game, to say the least, we are back with Digidestined versus Bonsai. And here we do have Bonsai electing to take that first pick here after their loss in that last game. Now, that was the third map that Bonsai has ever dropped. And personally, I am baffled that this has come out of the Digidestined team. A team that has not been too hot this season, but is showing up here as the 8th slot in this rankings and taking a map off of one of the best teams in this league. The best team, almost. We'll see if they obviously end up winning the playoffs, but arguably, definitely one of the best teams on this league. I am so impressed by what they've ended up showing up.
Yeah, and a lot of it again came out of the jungle. We kind of talked about it before, and we'll say it again. But Telephobia performed out of his mind, and I would like to see GCCe draft in a way that prioritizes setting him up for early game success, similarly to last game with that Jace. Right now, Camille Ziggs does again, similarly to drafts in game 1 and game 2, give a bit of an identity pretty early on in this draft, right? You are locking somebody down with that Camille ult, and you are sending the artillery and hoping that it does the job. And for Bonsai, Ezreal, a little bit of a harder AD carry to lock down, and Victor, but I think Victor could be very susceptible to a combo like that. And now locking in Nefiri, GCCe, locking in a lot of aggression in the first 3 picks.
I'm honestly surprised this GCCe comp is not what they had with the J4 earlier, because Ziggs is such a powerful combination with Jarvan. I feel like that would have made a big difference in that first game, to say the least. But now that we're seeing it here, I feel like there is a lot of power that's going to come out on this Destined squad that might we might see a Ziggs ADC here. It's possible, but we have seen a couple Ziggs mids, to be fair. Though it does look like Bonsai does believe this is a APC at the very least. How do you feel about the Ezreal Ziggs matchup?
Ezreal has been one of the AD carries that's survived the most in the bot mage meta. For 2 reasons. I think that one, obviously he's a little bit more slippery. He can avoid some of that poking, and keep his distance better. But 2 is that I think he's more self-sufficient than other AD carries if the support leaves, right? The idea behind an APC is they can clear the waves time after time after time, and let the support go be a nuisance. Do everyone else's worst nightmare in the top lane, in the mid lane, and in the jungle. And I think Ezreal is able to kind of punish that because he has a little bit more individual initiative to be aggressive, especially if Ziggs uses the satchel early. So we'll see if Ezreal's able to do that. We'll also see if the supports do roam like that. But GCCe locking in the Seraphine, which has a little bit of flexibility, and actually a couple of their champions so far have some flexibility. So where do you expect all this to land?
Do you think that this Nefiri is most likely going to be jungle? I feel like the relevance that Jace had in that last game, the range that Nefiri's engage happens to have, is I don't think it would necessarily mimic the Jace, because obviously Jace has such a long range, but it should have the same effect at the very least. The relevance, the speed, the clear, the damage output, the heavy burst, the extra little finisher. But the response of this Nocturne, this is what really interests me here. The jungle Nocturne, I feel it might be a little more of a problem than what Digidestined might have been prepared to deal with. It's not a very common pick, and the Ornn on top of it, just I feel like it's not the best call, honestly. The Ornn versus Camille matchup, I feel is I don't know.
I think they may be expecting something to go somewhere else by
Mm.
locking in that Ornn. I guess Camille is. I mean, Camille support has been so popular lately, but it was nerfed. Um, Ziggs and Seraphine, Nefiri, all of these do offer some flexibility. There's a couple different places this can go, but I do like this Gwen selection. I think that
I think it's a Gwen. Sorry.
was it locked in? Yeah, it was locked in. Okay.
Yeah, no,
I think the Gwen's probably top lane. It looks like so far it's top lane. We'll see if they lock that in, but I think that's better. I think Camille in support is probably for the best. And I thought the Seraphine was going to go mid, and I would have been a fan of that too. But I do like generally a poke mage, whether it be Seraphine or Ziggs, against a Victor. I think that is one of the ways to avoid his early lane prowess with Shield Bash, especially with Deathfire Touch now. It can be so aggressive if you're trying to auto back into him and trying to trade with spells. So standing a mile away and throwing all your spells so far away that he can't hit you is kind of the best way to avoid all that early lane damage. So I actually, so far, we'll see where everything does line up. If it stays the way it is, then I really do like what GCCe has come into Game 3 with.
I think that Bonsai does have a really nice engage though. So I don't know if Digidestined is going to be able to actually counteract this such strong engage between the Nocturne, the Ornn, and the Nautilus. Though we'll just have to see though. There's a lot of burst that's gonna come out from Digidestined, and they might, especially if they get ahead, be able to show Bonsai just how to trim their leaves. We'll be right back after with this game 3 coming up. Hopefully, they'll see just another strong game from both sides, and it'll actually be a two-sided game. We'll be right back, though.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ember's Scorch Sleeve. Monkeys Bonsai taking on GCCe Digidestined, who just took a fantastic Game 2 victory over Monkeys, all coming out of a telephobia. The last time it was on the Jace, this time on the Neferi. We'll see what he can do about it. I think already I'm a little disappointed because we don't have the hot dog skin, but I can get over it. A little bit of fighting for wards and good poke, honestly, out of the Victor. We'll see if that does matter. I think Neferi has a pretty healthy clear, so it probably won't, but you never know. But lucky for Monkeys, they defend the ward.
Nocturne does have a pretty healthy clear as well, especially with that extra life healing that he's got on his passive. That extra AoE based on how many enemies he hits. It's one of those little things that sometimes you forget about when you're playing League. I feel like a lot of people just don't even know about it or take it for granted, but it's actually quite powerful, especially when you start scaling it up. But speaking of scaling, I'm curious to see just how much value the Seraphine can get in this game. I don't know how well it might work, but I feel like with team fights, especially because Seraphine excels so much in them, that she might be able to do a lot more power than your typical ADC would, for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. Does not start out nice with that hook, but the hook shot does land onto Ezreal to trade off some damage, but Seraphine takes quite a chunk. And Camille also take a chunk. Yeah, has to leave. Gets hooked. Camille, oh, it's a flash away. Oh, there's a trade of both flashes. But Camille, with a flash over the wall, does escape and burn both. So we'll take it. But still, that doesn't ignore the fact that her HP is so low and Nautilus wants this. Oh, the hook under the tower. I don't know if it's enough so far, but Camille, yeah, just one more auto is all you need. And Seraphine's still alive. Ooh, barely. Dodging from that Q as well. And Seraphine, I don't know if you can survive, but oh, but the tower shot onto Ezreal does dissuade them a little bit. Now Neferi is here, so they probably can't continue to put any pressure on Seraphine. Still has the flash. But so far, the early bot lane pressure out of Monkeys Bonsai doing work.
I mean, you make it sound like Ezreal doesn't have range. I feel like they're not respecting the range that this Ezreal has over a Camille, who is obviously a melee champion. It's not as optimal as you would like to have in your bot lane matchups. Camille, obviously, with that hook shot, it gives her a little bit of extra oomph. But, like, against an Ezreal who's just able to dash out of the way, it's going to be rough before you get to that level 6. But once you reach level 6, I think that things might change quite a bit. A lot of mana being used here in mid, though. Looks like the Fury might be looking for something.
Yeah, a lot of friends in mid lane, actually. Victor had 3 people in his lane. But going back to what we were talking about before, in talking about the Seraphine, I'm a big Seraphine enjoyer. I love her, specifically in mid lane, which is not all that common, but Ornn isn't like all the company he has, but the burn, the flash forward, Whirlwinder actually finds his kill, the dash forward. I don't think it should be enough, and no, Camille does find it. That's the power of the Camille. This support pick can be everywhere. Seraphine took a little bit too much damage on the bottom side. The idea is that you clear the wave and don't trade.
Ooh.
But I don't know for long for this world. One more auto. Oh, the heal. 2 more autos. The exhaust. Now the hook has to land. He gets slowed. Seraphine, just keep running. Just keep running. It's off cooldown. It's off cooldown.
Surely. Okay.
We have to get the distance when it's off cooldown. Stays in range, thinks it's off cooldown, so starts to dodge, bob, and weave, but Macmittens does not miss, and he finds his second hook on her and his second kill in out of 3 that Monkeys have gotten. But the idea behind this pick, and the idea behind whatever is paired with Camille, ooh, that could have been another one, is to clear the wave while Camille goes has fun with the jungler. So Seraphine has to stop looking for damage and stop using the mantra E, or the double E, and use the double Q on the wave. Clear the wave. You can clear the wave incredibly easily. And Seraphine is a horrible early game champ. Scales so well, but is a horrible early game champ.
It looks like Gwen is a little bit rough in this one, but does have the damage. Those snips do so much, especially against an Ornn. That's a rough matchup for the Ornn to begin with. I don't know why he would take a trade like that. I think he was hoping for the wave to get there, but it just wasn't. It was so far behind. I don't know. I'm a top laner, so when I see a fight like that, I can't help but question mark it.
As a top laner, you can tell me if this is an offensive thing to say, but my opinion of top laners is that every once in a while a top laner will fight just to fight.
You know,
Not because it's good, not because you need to, just because that's kind of just what happens sometimes. And I feel like Ornn just got in on the action already, but he was itching for some more. And this time it does not go his way. I don't think it was ever gonna go his way in that fight. But sometimes you just fight for the sake of fighting.
You might say he was itching for some mourn, but unfortunately he'll be mourning his loss with that set back to base. However, puns aside, I do think this Gwen getting the Dark Seal, having that assist in the previous fight, with that extra 2 stacks for this last one, is going to make a pretty big difference in this matchup, especially since Ornn, obviously, with those little anvil passive builds that he gets while in lane. Looks like Ziggs is trying to get in on this fight here.
Yeah, I would like this fighting to happen. Victor has to be so careful, and yeah, Neferi in the right place, right time, both flashing forward, and Italophobia doesn't even need to burn the flash himself to get the kill onto Vrang, and that's actually what I think this team needs to do. Italophobia is the one that got all the early damage in last game, but this fight's going well. Dignite. Actually, I'm sorry, I keep getting surprised by just how much damage this team is able to put out. But I want this fighting to continue. If you're GCCe, I think you should want this fighting to continue, but get the jungle involved. Unlock Tiger like you did in the first game where it was looking good with the Orianna. Obviously, it didn't go all the way, but this mid-jungle getting online, I think, is a key to GCCe's success.
Absolutely, the synergy between us.
Oh, that hook is nasty. Oh my goodness, Seraphine's one more auto. Camille should be able to trade this with a hook shot. She does do that, but doesn't get that much distance. Has to flash away herself, and I think she will be able to get out. So at the end of the day, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but that always goes in the advantage of Ezreal because Camille doesn't want to farm. All she has to do is reset, while Seraphine is going to miss this wave almost assuredly. She's already down so much farm, and Seraphine has to fight a little less, let the top side of the map do some fighting and get some farm under your belt. You do not want to be fighting this way until you have a little bit more AP under your belt.
I do feel like Ezreal is not the hardest opponent for Gwen to fight, though, if she does get farther ahead in this game. But just in general, he's just so low.
I think Ziggs should be okay. As long as the satchel is always the most important. So as long as that satchel is good, should be. But I don't think Neferi and Camille realize just how bad it is to walk here because Nocturne is sitting in the bush and waiting for it, and now he's ulting his way in. The satchel does do pretty good. And actually, everyone escapes, but no, Victor still hasn't used his ult yet. Ziggs is not long for this world. One more tick, and there he goes. And now they'll try to look for more. It's actually a flash forward, but he gets rooted. And Victor is doing so much damage. The laser cuts through them all. And it's a double kill for him. Nocturne gets another. Now Ornn with his own action in the top side. He's fighting for the right cause. This time the flash, the bellows breath, and the world ends for Gwen as 4 kills across the map for Monkey's Bonsai.
Oh man, that's not the best situation to be in. We're looking at a Drake coming up here, and just it looks like the Drake is up, but the timer on the top left tells me it's not. So I'm a little confused on that one. So forgive me on being a little hesitant on that one. But Grubs at the very least is gonna be obtained here. Neferi is on that red side. Krug is way too far away from anybody to make any kind of impact. Paranoia. What an ultimate though that this Nocturne has to be able to utilize. I feel that that's where all of this fight is going to come down to. It's who you target with Paranoia, who you want to focus on. And it does appear like the timer in the top left is incorrect. There is a Drake. So Camille appears to be getting it here with the help of Neferi.
He's happy with it. You were never going to be able to contest those grubs on the top side regardless. So we're at GCCe being the we.
very happy that that Drake is there. But yeah, I agree. The paranoia is going to be really what makes or breaks a lot of these fights. But I wouldn't necessarily say on who is the question. I would just say where. If Nocturne's in range, that's probably a good fight for Monkeys. Because with fights as explosive as they are, just having the numbers is all that matters. I think this doesn't get through. No,
Oh?
I don't know. Nefiri has a blast cone, but Seraphine's the one that walks way too far. Yeah, immediately flashing over the wall. I don't know how we're walking there. We should be able to get out, but no, Nautilus has Hook coming up. And now, oh, Seraphine does find the charm onto 3, but a lot of damage coming over the top, and that's one quick kill. Camille will fall next, and Seraphine, not long for this world. It's just one more Q that all, and it's an auto. But 3 more kills for Monkeys. A double kill going over to My Team Is Muted. And Ezreal officially online, 3-0-2, plus a 20 CS lead.
I did mention it earlier in this series, My Team Is Muted, one of the best players in this entire league, showing up every single match for this Monkeys Bonsai squad. And here we are yet again, after a little bit of a rough start to this series. My Team Is Muted has proceeded to be able to really get ahead here, to be able to show just how powerful they are as a person, not just as a player, and not just as Ezreal, but really just overall their skill on the Rift.
Yeah, and nope, Nefiri has the outs as always. But I would like to say, not only is My Team Is Muted already so competent, so powerful, but giving a champion like this in a draft like this, where they're going to be trying to dive onto you, Gwen, Nefiri, Camille with the Ziggs over the top, all going with Ezreal in their sights. Having a champion that can dip and dodge around, has a ton of damage, as we've already seen. I think this really is the kind of draft that sets success up for someone like My Team Is Muted. When you have Nocturne to make sure the lights go dark and they can't find you in the first place, Nautilus to lock them up if they ever do get on you. This is the kind of draft I was talking about all the way in the beginning of Game 1, where it's like, Monkeys drafts in a way that sets him up for success. The hook does go wide, Seraphine safe for now, but I think this is the kind of draft that I would love to watch Ezreal and just watch how he dances in these team fights.
He's such a safe champion to begin with, but the fact that he's got that escape every single time, like he still has flash up. I don't even think he's popped it this whole game. He still has the barrier, and there's just no way to shut this guy down. You have to find a way of killing this Ezreal, and Camille is supposed to be the one to do it, but the fact that she just reached level 6.
I don't know if Camille can survive this. Camille taking so much damage. Ornn, the scissors are gonna chop you down. Oh, the hook does land though. I'm actually blown away that Camille was able to get out in the first place, but now Nocturne actually, wow, for all the action that was in the bottom side, no one dies down there, but Nocturne will absolutely clean up Gwen on the top side. So it's extended 1-for-1 in the play. Ezreal spotting the Camille, but I think Camille should be safe, still has her own hook shot to dodge if she needs to, but wow. Should have been a bloodbath on the bottom side, but it's actually the top lane with 2 dead bodies on the floor.
Nocturne is a champion that I used to play quite a bit back in my day, and I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't realize about the champion, as I mentioned before, but especially the fact that with that ultimate, all you have to do, for those of you who are ever wondering how to counter a Nocturne, you just stand in a bush. If he can't have vision on you, he can't actually ult you. So if Gwen had just simply walked into that top bush during the paranoia, she wouldn't have had as much of an issue to deal with, especially since she could have backed during that time and had the benefit of that TP, but unfortunately she did overstay just a little bit and she did get punished for it.
Yeah, honestly, I think as soon as that kill goes over, I think you immediately channel that reset. Because if the Nocturne was in range to fight that bottom fight, he definitely would have done it. Right? We see this fight happening bot lane, and we don't see the paranoia. He's definitely on the top side, so I wouldn't have even shoved in the wave. I would have reset immediately. But Gwen tries to stick around, does unfortunately get punished, but still doing very well for herself. Only a wave, no, 2 waves. Well, actually a couple. I lied. 13 CS advantage in the top side, and now has the ability to fight. Is Drake just about to spawn? And now Victor Getting gone on.
Oh, what the? Where'd the Victor go? The second channel actually stopped by the fear, but Nocturne might be able to run them over. Oh my goodness. The damage out of this Nocturne is ridiculous. The hook going wide as well. But Nautilus with the ultimate. The charm on the 3, but it may just be too little too late. Nautilus taking down very low. The Comet actually steals the deal from Ziggs. Camille flashing away. The snipe not gonna land. So it's extended 2 for 2 so far, but the hook. Blast Cone, Ezreal. Oh, he has flash, he has E. No, but he does not hunt for any more. Honestly, he doesn't need it. 2 for 2, and the Drake's still alive. Let the team reset and try again.
Seraphine was just caught out there. She was a little bit too far over on that right side, and unfortunately, she was kind of spotted because she stepped out of the bush. A little questionable, but unfortunately for her, she did not survive long afterwards. We are seeing some very interesting items, I think, out right off the bat. We've got a the one I want to really mention is the Imperial Mandate on Seraphine as an APC.
Yes. This item. Do you have a good opinion or bad opinion? Let me ask that.
I feel like it's not a first item, but she's so far behind.
I would actually say, oh, Seraphine's good again.
No. Like,
In
you
all
need an
honesty-
ally with you. You need an ally to use
Yeah, in
Imperial
all
Mandate,
honesty,
and she just doesn't
independent-
have one.
Well, I will say, independent of build, you're dead there 10 times out of 10. You can't be standing alone without a wave where Nautilus can hook you and not even be on attack. Oh, actually, Nautilus didn't get he had another hook. Victor, he got exploded last game, or last fight, but he does a lot of damage. So they have to be worried. Nocturne pulls the ulti, but actually decides against using it. Is Nautilus just dead to that? No, he's not. Still just barely alive. Now the TP comes down. I don't know if there's too much to go for here. Ornn will still try. Oh, actually knocks the Ziggs out of the air. But I don't think they have the range. Seraphine does hit the 2-man charm. Ooh, look at that damage. That is where I will try and disagree with you. So the reason Imperial Mandate is okay is because of the buffs that it got probably 4 patches ago now. Makes it a great first item for both any champ that has pretty consistently usable CC. The best champ I think is probably Galio. That item is nuts on Galio. But Seraphine, it actually works very well, and the reason is because it gets you so much mana because of the 150% base mana regen that you get out of the crystal, that it actually does fill a similar niche to what a Lost Chapter would. It doesn't necessarily replace it. It doesn't necessarily do the same amount of damage, but the idea, ooh, that hook was close. The idea is to have the mana to constantly be clearing waves and get up your income. Seraphine is a late game champion, but you do need that ally with you. So being bot lane alone really still can't happen, right? I don't know if Nautilus can survive that. No, he can't. I think he's maybe getting a little overzealous. And Victor cannot. Whoa. Victor gets hit with the second one. Camille with the stun over the top. Ziggs with the bomb. Definitely can't be doing that. Nocturne could try and look on Gwen. Well, wow, there's fighting all over the map. And Nocturne should have enough damage here. The question is, what can Gwen do in return? The knockup, ooh, it's gotten close. But no, they will find the kill, and that is another kill. So, looks like at the end of the day, it's trading all over the map. We're still within 1,000 gold of each other, but both towers on either of the outer lanes will go down.
You would mention Seraphine is a late game champion, but I feel like in this game she might be just a little tad too late. Looks like World Ender might be cut out here. Kidding Record doesn't do too much against physical damage.
Oh, that's a gorgeous flash out of Seraphine. She finds the root on a Nocturne, and they catch yet again. So 2 catch there, both Ornn and Nocturne going down, but Seraphine dodging away from the Q. Ezreal flashes over the wall, or actually dashes with the Arcane Shift. Camille will lock down the Nautilus. They shouldn't have enough damage here. Yes, and it is. Camille's the one, again, to find the kill. 5 kills to the Camille, actually. Makes a little more sense that the support is building Sundered Sky. But oh my goodness, there's yet more. No, Neferi should be out. Ezreal is also fine. All right, and we finally get it. Get a chance to watch the bombs drop. What was that?
Ezreal's HP bar down below 15%. Gwen trying to chase on the Victor, has the ultimate, getting silenced. Victor flashing away. That's a gorgeous flash out of Victor, and he should get the kill from it. Well done by Frang. Finds the outplay in the 1v1. And after all that fighting, everywhere, all over the map, we are at a dead even game. 200 gold separates these two teams.
I mentioned it before, the Seraphine being a late game champion, obviously she is the very lowest in gold out of anybody on either I apologize, Nautilus is a little lower, but either way, it's still one of the lowest gold out of anybody on either team. Ezreal has a 2.5k gold lead, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough.
That's a good engage. Ezreal, oh, the flash failed over the wall, so he's going to get charmed up. So much damage already, but no, Nocturne actually is able to stall it out, and Camille has to flash away. The hook doesn't land either, and everyone is starting to whip. Now Orange coming in with the Orange Horn. Seraphine again, the one call out. She will fall. Frang's the one that takes the kill, and now Gwen, this TP has to do so much, but no, Nautilus has a flash of the wall. He's able to escape. Victor, can he get his turn to escape? The W goes down to slow her. Nautilus with the ultimate, and now Gwen getting cut down. Frang finds it yet again, his 5th kill of the game. Ziggs finally gets the kill, sniping down, but Camille, not long for the world. Flash, the Q is all that he needs. Nocturne getting hit with explosive, has to dodge, but no, walks into the mine to fall. It's a double kill, going over to the Ziggs. Ornn missing on the dash, but now I don't think he has anything left. His carries have to leave. Ziggs has no mana, that's why he's still posturing, but there's nothing even to fight for. Is the Drake gonna spawn? I don't think that... Is that timer correct? I think it is. Actually, Dragon did spawn, so that's why they're fighting. That's why Ornn's still here. He has TP. He can go back by and reset, but he is still here to try and keep control of this river to make sure his team is the first one here.
It's very interesting that last game we had a lot of physical damage, or the first game I should say, we had a lot of physical damage. This one, very magic heavy on the side of GCCe. That's why the World Ender has elected to go with the Canning Record and the Force of Nature, one after another. Not the typical buy that you would expect, but it does look like they're going to be fighting this one at the very least here.
Oh, the Fury goes in and gets it, but he does get stunned, and now Nocturne right on top of him. Camille maybe stuck over the wall and gets rooted. There's no escape for her, but Seraphine, oh, they were all lined up, but she only hits onto one, and now Ornn knocking her up instead. But there's no damage to follow up. Looks like Victor and Ezreal happy to walk towards wave. Look at that damage. That is the Imperial Mandate proc. Oh, wow, 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 wow. So much damage onto Victor, but she should be able to reset here. And everyone handshakes it. Is just a support loss for the Drake. I think that's something GCCe should be very happy with.
The fact that this is gold advantage is on the ADC for the side of Monkeys, and the support of all people on Digidestined. This is not what I expected. This is... Dipsy has been able to play this game very well, present all over the map, and able to get the final blows on top of it. I wasn't expecting the support to be the one to be ahead here. Is there enough value from this Camille support where she's actually going to be able to do enough by herself?
I mean, that's a good question, but that's really not why you're picking it. The real reason is that you wanted these lanes to be disgustingly in your favor because Camille was all over the map, right? And I don't really feel like that was true. Really, the reason Ziggs is 4-1-2 is Ziggs. Him in the team fights by himself has been performing out of his mind, and the damage is just disgusting. Like, you get a little bit of CC. You get a little bit of CC, and it doesn't matter if it's Nautilus. The bomb over the top is blowing people up, but it's these carries that are performing well, specifically Telephobia and Tiger, who are doing good damage, right? Camille didn't really set them up necessarily the way you'd like a Camille too, but she got her own gold, and Ziggs in these team fights is able to pump out damage. Ooh, Brain, do you have flash to get out of here? You do not. You are just dead. Horn actually whiffs. It's a field goal for the Ornn, but double kill goes over to the Gwen. Ezreal does find the last Q. The Fury dashing back in. Ornn has a lot of HP to work through, and a lot of magic resist, but the charm over the top into the jungle finds two. Nautilus with the hook away, but it doesn't matter as Ornn, the last one standing, and GCCe with a fantastic fight. Finally blowing open this game, it feels like. Do you think they run to Baron here?
Absolutely. I mean, this is just, you get the first turret and then you're able to get Baron that quickly. That's just how far ahead you are with these kill respawn timers. Wait, no, I guess they're reconsidering that thought process. But either way,
I think you had to pick between that tier 2 or the Baron. The respawns are not that long yet. We're only 25 minutes in.
oh, you got a good point. I apologize though. I spoke a little bit too soon. Either way though, the fact that that Ornn horn ended up missing. Call of the Forge God is such a vulnerable ability for Ornn, where if he misses it, it leaves him wide open for anything, including, in this case, a face full of bombs. Ziggs is just so powerful here, has been doing so well this entire game, and has such powerful escape and DPS that there is nothing that they're really doing to stop the damage, because they can't. It doesn't matter how much resistances you get. This Ziggs is popping bomb after bomb, and Mega Inferno Bomb indeed, because he is on fire this game.
Yeah, it's actually disgusting the kind of damage that Ziggs is doing. And I would like to point out, you talked about resistances, but the only one who has resistance is Ornn. And you can tell, he survives a long time. But look at his inventory. He has an upgraded Canic Recurrent, and he has the Force of Nature. Now the Charm finds onto 3. Those monkeys that started the fight, but Ezreal barely dashes his way out of it. And now the avoidance may actually spell doom for GCCe. Ziggs flashing forward does find the kill, but no, it's actually a 1-for-1 so far. The Fury dashing in onto Victor, but the knockup into the stun. That's so much work going on from the Fury, and she will fall. The Storm growing stronger. Gwen has to cut through the rest of the team all by herself. The Storm is still doing work, but Ezreal's not able to do all that much damage yet. But no, now finally getting into the fray, as now Seraphine and Ziggs have to head for the hills. Seraphine, no mana left either, so she's not really able to fight this fight anymore. But no, Ornn's the only one chasing. He finds the knockup. He doesn't need anyone else. It's the stasis to try and buy a little more time, but one more bonk of the hammer is all that he needs, as he'll find yet another kill. Nautilus, I don't know if you actually have the damage to keep going onto the Ziggs. Remember, he is 7-1-4. He has a Rabadon's completed. He is a terrifying beast of a bomb. And now Ezreal and Ziggs getting into it. I think that Ezreal is biting off a little more than he can chew if he starts that fight.
I do think my team is muted has the agility on this Ezreal to be able to dodge so much of those Ezreal or the Ziggs bombs. Just because Ziggs is such a high skill champion, every single one of his abilities is a skill shot. It makes it so difficult to catch those stinky little devils like Ezreal, who, despite being the rest of his team being behind, is still 3.5k gold up on this Seraphine. It really doesn't feel like Seraphine is the APC anymore. I feel like, at the very least, the Fury has really taken the role of ADC from, well, anybody, as they have been the main source of AD damage on the side of GCCe, which is especially relevant when you're fighting someone like the World Ender, who is built solely magic resist.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that is one of the benefits of Seraphine, is she doesn't have to do the damage herself. If she hits her R onto multiple members, they are marked invulnerable for everybody. 7% extra damage for everybody, so it just matters how much CC she lands. Does her E hit? Does her R hit? And then she's gonna be valuable. Camille, whoa, what are we doing? And, oh, the charm only lands onto 1. GCCe, this is not the fight you were looking for. The knockup even cancels the Neferi ultimate, and it is disaster for GCCe as 3 quick members fall. Now Ezreal trying to chase his way out of Seraphine. He gets stunned up, he gets locked up, the bomb doesn't burn. Is it enough? No, Ezreal actually survives with the hook lands, and Ziggs, this might be only the second time this game, but the laser finds it as Brian walks forward. Oh, he takes a lot of damage. Oh, look at that damage out of Seraphine as he finds the kill. But that is the only kill GCCe got. They fought that fight, but with just about everything they needed to hit, and Monkeys capitalize, even up the goal lead, and they should get themselves a Drake to even that up too.
They need, the GCCe roster needs to focus this Ezreal, but unfortunately there's just too much peel for them between the Ornn, the Victor, and the Nautilus, not to mention the Nocturne. There's just too much to prevent one specific person from jumping on this champion who already has a lot of escape to begin with. combo that on top of the fact that he's got all of this peel to boot, this Ezreal still has flash even after that large fight. I feel like that just shows how much skill My Team is Muted really has at dodging the abilities that this GCCe roster is trying to throw at him. What are you supposed to do against this Ezreal?
Yeah, that's a great question, but in all honesty, Ezreal was like 15% HP of that fight, and let's remember what went wrong. Seraphine only hit an R onto one, and it was Nautilus. Dibsy got locked up before the hook shot even hit the wall. Not even hit a person, before it hit the wall. Oh, everything went wrong in that fight, and it was still close. Now, the lockup on a Nocturne, he's just dead. Resurrection out of the GA. The knockup, oh, Camille doesn't get hit by the Q, and now the Storm, oh, it's a snipe. Ezreal finds the work, and now it's just Ziggs and Seraphine that have to stop the onslaught, but the poke is just too much. Even though Monkeys get the fight, even though they back up exactly as they're supposed to, they can't stop because the poke's just too strong. They can't continue to go forward. Now Ornn pulling the trigger to try and stop Gwen, does not hit it, but this side lane's starting to get bad for Monkeys, and I don't really know if Victor can answer it either.
Gwen is such a powerful split push champion to begin with. Just the amount of damage that this Gwen has to begin with on those turrets, along with the Dawn and Dusk, along with the E that she has to begin with, she just has so much damage onto these turrets and is able to snip them down, cut them down to pegs. You need to respond to this Gwen, but how are you going to do so? I feel like Ezreal, even he can't really do all that much against her, simply because she is just as mobile as he is.
Oh, that's actually a really good engage, but they don't find it on the Seraphine. The knockup should be there, though, and Seraphine's gonna explode before her R ever goes off. That's really important. Oh, Gwen taking down so low. No, it's actually a 1-for-1 trade in the side lane. That's so important that Gwen falls down for Monkeys, as now it's a 4v4 on the map, and this is just a stronger set of 4 because they still have engage options. It's up to Camille in the period to find the engage now, but they're both knocked up by the Ornn. The hook goes down, the hook lands, and Camille has to run for the hills. The snipe downtown finds it as the Bella's Breath finishes the deal. Now the root, yet another hook lands from Nautilus. He just cannot miss, and they 1-for-1 trade goes into 3 kills for Monkeys. Advantage going to them, and they started the Baron. They didn't get to finish the Baron, but they got the fight they needed.
Honestly, what we just saw there was just a lot of scrappiness. There wasn't that... Oh? No, there wasn't that power, that cooperation that we saw in that last game where we had a Telephobia being able to be so far ahead where they could just be wherever they wanted to be. Unfortunately, in this game, it seems like they have been able to be caught off from the rest of their team so frequently. And I wonder if there might have been some kind of disconnection issue with that Seraphine, since she did just kind of, like,
No,
she was so far out of position.
It's actually the Neferi
and she was
that
stuck.
disconnected.
It was the Neferi. Interesting.
Yeah.
This is somebody who disconnected in the previous game as well.
Yep. I hope that is an issue. You know, you never want to see a game or a series like that be decided by something like that. Hopefully that's not the story here. Although it seems like other than this second now disconnect, it seems like the actual gameplay itself isn't being affected. Knock on wood. Like to believe that. But I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think unfortunately the fact that Seraphine is getting caught out is a big detriment to GCCe right now. But it doesn't mean it's over. You know, you are a supportive character. You just, if you don't get caught out in the next one, if you have your flash like you do, and instead of Zhonya's first, you flash away and save your Zhonya's for when your team is able to deal the damage to force them away from that Zhonya's, I think it can go a lot better for GCCe.
The amount of damage that this Ziggs is able to output, I feel like it has gradually decreased with this fight. Obviously, everyone has increased in health. They've increased their items that they've had, but the actual impact that Ziggs has had on the game has gradually decreased. These champions have become more mobile, making it a lot harder to land a lot of these abilities, especially that bouncing bomb, which has a lot of that core damage that Ziggs needs to have in these damaged fights. If you're not landing those key bombs, you need to purchase something like a Lich Bait to be able to compensate for that damage, considering Ziggs' passive already does so much extra damage with the auto attack. when you're running something like the Ziggs and you're struggling to land things, you need to kind of swallow that pride and accept the fact that maybe you are struggling to land these abilities, and maybe it might be time for a change of course.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure if that means to buy Lichbane, because if Ziggs is that close, the pause after pause, as always. But if Ziggs is close enough to be autoing, I think it is Wraps, you know, with the likes of an or Nautilus. But
Fair.
I do agree that that is the big difference, and I don't think it's actually because there's higher HP or Ezreal's slippery. I think what it really comes down to is these fights are happening too quick. When these fights happen on GCCe's terms, it's hard to miss the Zig bombs when Camille is locking them down. It's hard to miss them when Seraphine's charming them. But this is our second fight now where there was no Seraphine charm on the majority of the members. This time it was on nobody. The last time it was only on one, which was Nautilus, right? The Camille hook shot never came through. It never found a stun. So all these things, when the fight is on Monkey's terms, and they're pulling trigger and they're making it fast and they're getting rid of these key CCs like Seraphine or like Camille, it's going to be a lot harder for Tiger to get the damage. And Tiger needs to get that damage in order for this team fight to look good.
Just watch for this engage here. We're likely going to see some kind of fight. But
yeah, I think Monkeys has such an advantage here because they have Baron, right? If the fight doesn't happen, if you're in the bottom of the river, we said this in game 2, didn't we? If you're the one with Baron and you're in mid lane and you don't want the fight, you're not sure if you get it, just start pushing! They get themselves a tower, they're gonna get a second tower before anyone even shows up.
Especially with Gwen in the top side, you know, Gwen is one of the strongest people in this team right now, and she is so far ahead, but she isn't going to be able to do too much if she isn't actually in the fight to be there. They have to wait for her. They lose inhibitor to her. They lose inhibitor. She's just now showing up.
Goes on to Seraphine again, and Seraphine still doesn't find either of the carries. Now, as Victor can be free to get his storm in, he will finally know. He doesn't even fall. It's only Nautilus that falls down as Victor gets a double kill. Now can continue to chase down the Fury, flashing forward to find the damage, but no, Ziggs bombs still do incredible damage when they land. But now, the Nexus turrets are open. Ziggs has to get his Vanna back, has to, barely dodged away from that one, but it might not matter. Neferi is coming back. Neferi does have the ultimate, so can use it onto Ezreal, using the W to avoid Nocturne, but didn't find a kill, so didn't get the ultimate reset yet. Ezreal down so low, the bomb not yet landing. Ziggs ultimate still on a cooldown, but no, they're able to poke them out enough that GCCe survive to fight another fight.
Holy smokes, that should not have gone that way. I mean, when you're that close to Nexus, there's no reason why they should have just focused it. But unfortunately, didn't get enough autos off in time, with Ezreal barely coming out alive. The gold differential, they had to give that distance up because they didn't want to give up the money that they could have lost from losing Ezreal. Interesting note here, the Paranoia is popped to deny the vision onto Drake so they can't be stolen. But
yeah,
side notes aside,
I don't really like that because it was already too late for the Zig bomb already saw you and threw the bomb, right? So they clearly already had it. So I get the idea, but either you pull it early so they can't see how it gets low, or you know, I don't think it actually did much there. It's more of just being scared of what they could possibly bring, which fair enough. I'd be scared of it too. But now you just lost your inhib, so you're stuck in base a little bit. The other team is on soul point, and they're continuing to scale up with these Ornans. They're continuing to get gold onto their carries. It's just looking harder and harder and harder. You have to find a pick now because you're starting to fall behind.
this is what I was talking about earlier. The fact that this Neferi and Seraphine are a little bit farther behind than they should be is really making a big impact on this game. I mentioned it before, the Ezreal, the Nocturne, two champions to really look out for in these fights. There is a 2.4k gold lead on Bonsai here, but despite the 11 kills lead, there's still a fight here. This isn't one-sided just yet. This could still go in the favor of GCCe. They just need to find the right pick at the right time. But who?
Oh, that was crazy. Oh no, and it's not gonna end because the hook just landed on Camille, and now the Inbone has to go because the Victor the Nautilus ultimate would have actually killed Seraphine. I think you're right. I still think this could go Seraphine's way, but ooh, look at that damage. It comes from this Seraphine.
GCCe's game comes from this Seraphine, because not only does she do a lot of damage, especially now with the Crit Bloom, and how bloody all of these fights have gotten, considering there's 2 different people that have executes on this team based on missing HP. Oh, you just can't walk up that far. Tiger's actually dead, and that could be all she wrote. How do you walk up? There's no reason to. Now, it has to be up to Gwen to get away. She has to try and fight her way through it, apparently, as she finds a kill. But now Nefiri, you can't get caught too. Is a double kill going over to Varang. 13 kills deep. Now Seraphine walking up, a lot of damage. Oh, 1 more auto is all she needs, and yes, she does find it, finds the CC as well. This is the fight that Seraphine needs. She needs to just continue to not get caught out. No, it can't happen this way. Nocturne finding her yet again. It's her 10th death of the game. Camille dodging away from the knockup though. Nefiri has a lot of damage. They have to wait for Ezreal. Ezreal's the only one that's healthy. Remember, there's no turrets. The turrets respawn, and minions took them because that whole fight happened while your base was falling. And now Nefiri has to go for the health to reset, but it may just not matter anymore. Both carries are still dead. Ziggs is still dead, and Nefiri can only watch as the Nexus falls, and Monkeys take game 3.
I feel like the biggest issue with that game was just the amount of deaths that certain people had on this Digidestined team. If you notice, the Tiger only has 3. Now, obviously, the Tiger has Satchel, which allows them to be able to disengage very easily. However, it's not as if there aren't just as much, if not more, disengaged from the rest of these members besides Seraphine. Seraphine is the only one who doesn't have a disengage option with mobility. And I feel like that was the big factor that prevented so much from, well, the Seraphine in general. They could have played so many other champions in this bot lane. I don't think Seraphine had the mobility that the rest of the team had, which left her kind of stuck out in the open after a lot of these fights.
Yeah, overall I'd agree, but at the same time, you know, like Victor doesn't have a dash, you know, he's able to stay safe, and obviously he died pretty often too. But the difference is when you have this kind of mobility that Ezreal has, if you have a satchel charge like Ziggs has, you're able to make up for mispositioning. And Seraphine doesn't have that. The only thing you do have, which Ziggs doesn't have, is heavy CC kit where you can stall time to fix it. But it doesn't stop when you walk where you're not supposed to. You know, and so many times you saw Seraphine walking somewhere where there's no right for a Seraphine to be there. And that doesn't change independent of build. That doesn't change independent of the other champs on your team. That's just your own positioning. And I think GCCe looked really good in this game. It just came down to the positioning so often not going their favor. But in the future games, if the positioning can get shored up, then they're fighting
It doesn't seem like there's been too much of a preference on wanting to fight the Poppy Olaf combo at the very least, but the Syndra, Azir, and Swain. Why do you think that they're so afraid of these three champions?
That's a good question. I think there's a combination of answers. One is just the proficiency, right? You said it last game. You know, the mid, and I game two still sitting with me enough that I'll say jungle as well. But that's really the key defining factor for GCCe wins, right? And a significant proficiency on those champions. It's just gonna get you more wins than anything else. But the other thing is, I think that so far, Bonsai has really favored the engaged side of things. You know, other than game one, they like to be the ones pulling the trigger. And all three of those are mages that really do well dissuading and punishing engaging, right? Syndra with the scatter, Azir with the shuffle. Swain just loves if you're on top of him because he's actually getting stronger because of it when he's sucking your soul out with his ult, right? So all of them really dissuade the kind of game that Monkeys wants to play and are individually very powerful in the mid lane. So I think it's a combination of those two.
I really like this Aphelios pick. They're picking a champion that is very feast or famine. They've struggled in the past to play champions that aren't necessarily very, difficult to execute in this bot lane, but the times that they have done very well in bot side have been with champions that are much more heavy in the they take a lot more of team pressure to actually play so that the team can actually peel for those champions, and that way the I believe it's Lily. Yeah, Lily Coco is able to play a little bit safer as a result of playing a champion who is much clearer to be an issue in terms of health and resistances. The pick of Thresher though, I do worry a little bit just because Digidestined might fall just because they've been out of position so frequently. I think it's a really smart call on their part on the Bonsai because this is how they're going to be able to capitalize on people being out of position. The Ivern, the Thresh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that I agree with your call, but I also feel like it's more for the defensive capabilities than it is for the offensive ones. Kiana, when you've already locked in the Ivern, you're already clearly playing towards a lot of uh onus being put on your AD carry, which obviously, as we've seen time and time again, that's the kind of player you have in the bot lane, right? You can afford to do that. But Kiana really forces a lot of AD carries, especially either the AD carries with no escape or the AD carries that are shorter ranged, to really punish them if they misposition or get on top of them really easily. And the ability to use the lantern to get the hell out of dodge and find safety from an assassin like Kiana gives Thresh really a leg up over any other support in the game because the lantern to readjust where you're positioned is just innately powerful. So I like the pick a lot because it works in the offensive and it works in the defensive as well. But really, I'm more curious what these solo laners are going to look like. A lot of mages are off the table. Obviously, the Syndra, the Azir, the Swain, the Mel. Plus, we've seen a couple mages already, right? We already saw the Anivia, we already saw the Ahri, we already saw the Orianna, we already saw the Ziggs, we already saw the Seraphine, we also saw the Victor. There's not all that many mages left, man. And GCCe, even further indexing into their engage, getting Galio to come over the top over Kiana. I just don't really know how much more you have in the tank to try and do magic damage as a mage in the mid lane.
Speaking of mages in mid lane, we're seeing a Galio with a Veigar hover? Ooh.
I guess that makes sense. There's not a lot of mages left in the pool, and Kiana can't really stop the fact that the wall blocks her. And if she gets put in the baby cage, I don't think Galio's going to save her. So honestly, I actually like that pick a lot.
I don't know. This game feels like it's been such a back and forth with the powerhouses that have existed. There hasn't been one match where the same person has excelled over the top. Everybody has had their own moment to shine, and I have no idea where this could be coming from in the future. I do like this Ivern jungle though, especially since Ivern is not been played as customarily in jungle in Ember. It's something that most people aren't expecting. But the Kiana versus Ivern I think is really interesting matchup since Ivern does have a really fast clear, but it's a unique clear that Kiana might be able to capitalize on.
Yeah, I agree. And now looking at the top lane, I think that Mundo and Zaheen is a pretty interesting matchup as well. I think Mundo is honestly a really good pick here because, you know, what happens when you have an assassin as your jungle and you have a tank who does still do damage in the mid lane, but a tank nonetheless, you are not as heavily indexed into damage as a lot of other team comps, especially in this elo bracket. We really like our 80 carry plus a mage. You know, that combo is bread and butter for a reason. So it puts a lot of emphasis on the Aphelios to pump out consistent DPS, and Mundo really makes that difficult. So Zion really has to do incredibly well in lane, frankly, for me to like GCCe's comp better, because Mundo Vigar, this last phase out of Monkey's Bonsai is really great drafting.
I look forward to seeing this on the Rift personally, and we are going to see it in just a little bit. This team is going to be. I really like the Zion pick. I I don't know about how against the Mundo, but I do feel like if anybody's going to be able to face off against Mundo, it's going to be the Zion. But either way, we are definitely going to see how this matchup goes in every lane, not just the top, in just a little bit. But we will be back after we are all set up and ready to go. Hopefully this doesn't go on too much longer. I know it's getting a little late here, but I'm sure the rest of the both teams are really feeling it as well. So this might be the pressure game that might push one over the edge. We'll see in just a bit. That's such a huge feat to pass off for any team. I feel like at this point, you came out with a big win. Like, as a team that is coming in as the 8th spot on the leaderboard, you took a whole game off of the #1 team. And not only that, just a team that hasn't barely lost at all. How do you feel about this?
I mean, obviously, bias aside, it does feel great. But I think for GCCe, I'm quite impressed, honestly. You know, as the AC, you're obviously coming in as significant underdogs, and you not only did you take off a game, but your last game didn't look all that bad either. There was some things that left to be desired, but I think that you really were fighting, and it's just a little bit cleaner is all you need to maybe send us to a game 5 and take the series.
Now, I think a lot of this game is going to come down to the early game poke. These little skirmishes here and there really came out to show just how powerful they really are in that previous game because of the presence these junglers have had on the entirety of the map. It's like they're always exactly where they need to be at the right moment in the right time with exactly the abilities that they need. It's so impressive for these people to remind ourselves that they are only, I believe it's Emerald and Diamond 4 is the cap. So the fact that these jugglers are able to be so present at all times is just incredible.
Yeah, and I think that that's going to matter even more this game for both sides. You know, on Monkey's Bonsai, the jungle can't do it by themselves. Oh, it's a lot of damage. Aphelios holds on to the flash, does use the exhaust, but, you know, Audit has to be where a carry is. You know, Ivern really can't do it by himself. And on the other side, you know, Qiyana, getting ahead means everything for this team. Getting a lead with an assassin means so much. So, our eyes should really be glued to both of these jungles and to the jungle matchup, because where they go in the first maybe 10 minutes of this game is going to decide a lot for how this game goes.
Speaking of where they go, it looks like Ivern's trying to get something here in this bot side, but the lane is so shoved. I mean, I mentioned how fast Ivern's clear can be, but I feel like he's just kind of going to be dilly-dallying around here, especially with the...
Oh, that's great timing. The lantern in. Rel taken down so low, but actually does get out. Ivern does well to offer some pressure, but not enough to secure the kill. It will still get a good amount of damage on this tower. Not necessarily a plate, but they'll still get good work. Qiyana is here now. Maybe just in time to find them warding. We'll see. Yeah, but just Thresh. So at the end of the day, nothing too bad matters. And now Ivern on his way back bot lane? Question mark?
Surely they back here, right? Bot lane has got a back.
Right? I don't know.
There's
But
still low enough
Ivern
room.
has Gromp now, so Ivern can clear up. So all's well that ends well. But yeah, I don't really know why we're staying here. And the CS is only gonna get worse. You're already 10 CS down. It's like 4.5 minutes in.
Especially with the amount of pressure that they're able to apply with the fact that they're low, you need to back, you need to get things reset, and then you need to come back faster than just losing all of the CS that they currently are just being pressured off of. This bot lane on the Monkey's roster is able to back and get the back before GCCe is even able to start their back. And Aphelios still hasn't even started the back. I'd be shocked if he even did back at all at this point, simply because there's just no value from it. Meanwhile, this top side, it looks like Mundo just got his R. Might be an opportunity here.
Oh, Zahin's doing so much damage though. The Ignite comes down, so Mundo's actually not healing all that much. But no, he's still able to get away. And honestly, we talked about this top lane matchup because Mundo, in the greater scheme of a team fight, is going to be so potent. So how Taste is able to navigate this early lane means a lot for GCCe as well. I think it's as much as we were talking about Tiger from last game. Tiger has a facilitating role this time, and it's up to Tace and the Telephobia to really make it count. Now, the Telephobia doing just that, to steal away this Raptor camp. Ivern, I don't know how much you really have to answer that, and actually it's the flash away.
He just takes the whole camp.
Not only the whole camp, but actually, ooh, Galio thought there was going to be a little bit more Mundo. Oh, the knock up, the flash forward. Oh, Taze with first blood, solo bolo in the top lane for the Zahan.
What a kill in that top lane. It looked like he was a little afraid at first, but he saw the opportunity and took it very quickly. There was like a second of hesitation, as if he wasn't too sure at first, especially since Mundo had that flash opportunity, but it seemed like there wasn't really much that he was able to get out of it, especially since he didn't even elect to use it. Meanwhile, this mid lane, we saw a little bit of that skirmish. We saw the Galio even ult. I do feel like Ivern is one of those champions you really can't invade all that definitively, simply because if you do it at the wrong time, if you don't have enough vision on the Ivern camps to know their timer, you're never going to be able to catch him while he's currently doing the camps. You'll always catch him on the back end of it, like we just saw before, where they just kind of yoink the camp as soon as Kiana tries to take it.
Yeah, and I think that's like the start of exactly what they need, you know? Ivern here, this could be really good timing for Ivern, and Rel doesn't find out until she's locked up and rooted. The knock-up from Daisy doing work, and now Felios, I don't think the flash matters. It's just too late, and it's a flash to follow as he finds it. It's a double kill going over to Yanara. And we said we were talking about what GCCe needs, but that is what Monkey's Bonsai needed. Yanara off to the races. 30 CS and 2 kills under her belt.
That's a champion you can't get kills to. She's just gonna go so far with those. 1 or 2 kills is all it takes for this Yanara to come online so quickly that even someone like, especially since the only tank that they really have here, it's a Rel Galio, but if Rel is so far behind, like she currently is, she's not going to be as relevant as a tank as much as Galio is. That's why Galio elected to go for this Aftershock, but it looks like they're looking for something here. Looks like GCCe is trying to get some kind of rub opportunity, or possibly even a top lane.
Oh, it's a flash forward. Aphelios is just dead again. It's just dead again. You cannot be posturing like you have any room to exist in this bottom lane anymore. The flash away. That's a gorgeous flash from Rel over the wall. A ton of distance gain, so Yanara can't continue to chase. You know, Kiana may have gotten the grubs, but now this bot lane is bleeding, and you have to find a way to stem it, because Aphelios is going to be so important. Mundo is the big issue here in a team fight, and he's the only one that has any hope of cutting down this doctor in the top lane. So I don't know exactly what the plan is to fix that, but they better come up with it quick.
Yeah, especially since Mundo, Aphelios is at 46 CS right now against the Yunara's 81.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, Mundo might not be. Oh no, the W doesn't land. Both of them. Oh, a lot didn't land. Okay. That's alright. Mundo's going where he pleases. But yes, that CS deficit in the bottom lane is only going to get worse. Aphelios is going to really struggle to exist in this lane. Thresh still here. This time he lands it. Gets, the Flay actually forces Vygar to miss the W. Little anti-synergy there. And I would like Thresh to stay in this bottom lane, because Aphelios is homeless. You don't want to give him any gold. Wow, he takes a lot of damage. Ivern is so warded out. He has no idea. You shouldn't have even given. You shouldn't even let him know. You should have let him sit there for a bit. But still, Yunara. We talked about my team is muted already as a player. You know, being the kind of guy that just takes over a game. So to give him this kind of a lead, I'm scared for GCCe. I don't know exactly what you can do to shut this man down. If it's better for you to play everywhere else but bot lane, or to try and shut him down and play against bot lane, none of those options sound like good options to me right now, and they gotta figure something out. Oh. Maybe it's already figured out, and it's that Yunara's gonna kill them. Because Yunara, oh, it's yet another hook. One more auto kills Aphelios. Galio, it's not gonna be enough for Yunara. It'll be enough to kill Thresh, but now Ivern's on the way to give her a shield. Kiana trying her best to chase him. And honestly, Yunara may have overstayed her welcome. Now Ivern using the ultimate, getting rooted up. Yunara doesn't actually take as much damage as you think. Ivern flashing away, actually avoids the taunt. And now Daisy with the knockup. Vigar is here, and he can collect some much needed stacks as he catches one. And Kiana, ooh, the dodge. I don't think that dodge actually helped you. The ultimate to stall, but the root still hits, and Vigar can collect it. Gorgeously done. And now both carries are online for Monkey's Bonsai.
What a root from Audit ADC there. That was just so clean underneath that turret, even with the dodge that she tried to land. The supreme supreme display of talent was just not enough of a stun, long enough at the very least at level 7 to do just enough here. They try to get a little bit more of value by purchasing that fashion breaker like we saw in the other game, but I don't know. I don't think he's got the same output here. Aphelios.
I don't think we have to really guess what's happening up there. Zaheen, in the meantime, the root's not going to land. I don't even think it matters. I think he was actually losing the 1v1 before Ivern even got there. He gets the smite. Now Ivern, don't give him over the kill, and he finally will take it. I think that 1v1 was probably better suited as 1v1. Kiana, can we get one?
Oh.
The shield actually does a good amount. And Kiana doesn't even move forward. I think you should have still played. Maybe you can't. Maybe you can't in the face of
She
Mundo.
could have flashed that. She definitely could have flashed that.
I think she could have, but
she had R too.
I think even if you no R. She did use R in the previous engagement in the top side.
She has it up right now.
Does she?
According to the UI, she's got it up, so I have no reason to believe otherwise. No, it's at 25 seconds on. You're absolutely right. UI is just a little off.
That's alright. It's because it looks like a triangle, so it just lined up with the right triangle. But
no, it's colored in, so it's not grayed out.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I think there's something happening in the higher part of this jungle. Vigar had to flash over that wall. He's flashing into the wrong side jungle, but now Kiana, oh no, the hook doesn't land. The stun doesn't either. But still, taking a ton of damage from Vigar. But no, it's not enough.
He's missing a lot of his abilities, but he's still dishing out so much just because it's Vigar. At the end of the day, it's just a champion who's able to do so much by himself. He has so much damage output, and speaking of not being by yourself here.
Oh, Galio tried so hard to dodge. He dodged the hook, but it doesn't matter as Ivern got the root and collected the kill because Yunara's got enough gold already. And now Aphelios.
He's got the kill guns here, but
nope.
Not enough damage.
I don't really know why Aphelios is there in the first place. You are 0-4 at that point. Don't be alone. And now Mundo,
I just
actually that
look
cleaver.
at the gold difference.
Oh yeah, don't even look at it. Thresh, oh, everywhere. He's everywhere. And now Mundo finds another one. This may be the most lopsided game we had so far this year.
Yeah, it's 12-2. I mentioned a little bit before. I took a look down into the bot side of gold differentials, and I just see a 3.6k gold bonus on Yunara here. She's 2 items right now, 2.5 items already, and against Aphelios, who barely finished his first. Just there's no way to compete against this. You have to just farm, stay safe. You can't take fights. But unfortunately, Lily Coco has known time and time again to be able to try to get involved in all of the fights, even if it means showing up a little late. And you can't make mistakes like that if you want to be able to get ahead here. Speaking of mistakes, it does look like Yunara did pop R there, I think.
Did she?
I think I saw the display for it.
I guess we'll see when the next fight happens.
Yes,
But
truly.
regardless, I think that for GCCe's sake, we'll hope so. Because
Yes.
we need that and then some. It is 6k, 7k at 15 minutes, and 6k at 15 minutes. Oh. No, I don't know what that is.
Was,
if a comeback is going to happen, it's going to start by regrounding your mental. Not taking 1v1s that you lose. Not by walking up and taking a 2v4. As in the mid lane, I think we are taking a 2v4. Yep, Rel is dead. We just
2v3 to be fair, but that's not the point.
You're right. 2v2. 3.5, Daisy. Mundo get a solo kill in the top side. No, it wasn't even a Daisy. It was a 2v3. But yeah, this is going pretty poorly for GCCe and going fantastic for Monkeys. This is the seed that you expect. The first seed that only dropped 2 games in the regular season. This is the kind of gameplay that you expect to see. And it took a little bit to get there, but this is the team that you wanted to see out of Monkeys Bonsai. And GCCe, kind of a similar boat to the other games. A lot of it coming out of bot lane positioning. You know, it's not the mechanics. It's just choosing where to be and knowing where you're allowed to be. That's really starting to become ever apparent is going to be punished. But let's look at the bright spots. Although we're 17 minutes in, it's only 2 Drakes. We still have 3 minutes until the next Drake spawns, so you have a little bit of time. Your Aphelios is a scaling AD carry. You have time. Qiyana being an assassin that doesn't scale all that well, let's ignore it. We gotta get some gold in pockets. I don't even care whose pockets. We just gotta get gold in pockets.
Anybody's pocket will do, as long as it's not the enemies. However, it hasn't been going too well as of late. I do want to take a look at the very least, the differential in CS here on all fronts except for Zahan.
Hold that thought. Qiyana's played away. Qiyana one more auto, but no, she's getting... Oh, big pullback. And now Rel, the combo is doing really well. Nobody's dead yet, but Yunara, is she caught? Magmins is actually the one to get the kill, and no, Yunara doesn't die. If Yunara died there, I'd have hope. But Yunara now flashing forward to get the triple kill. Aphelios the last one. Can it be a quadra? It's all that you need. It could have been a penta. Yunara is unstoppable. 12 kills, 75 CS advantage, and a 2-21 game. This couldn't be more of a stomp for Monkeys Bonsai.
Yeah, this is just no good. I mean, Atelophobia, unfortunately, hasn't really had much of a jungle. Ivern is one of those champions that can literally just step into your jungle and just say, hey, you know what? This is mine now. Once he gets to level, I believe it's 14, it takes about 1 second for him to actually take full camps.
Oh.
And Qiyana looking for something here.
I don't think Vigar can get out of his teammates are resetting in the river. They are giving him up to the Qiyana. So that's 3. That's the start of something. Qiyana needed the gold more than anybody. Actually, no, not more than Aphelios. Aphelios needs.
Aphelios probably, yeah.
He needs rich parents. He's got very little to his name. But you know what? Qiyana getting some gold is a start. There's also bounties all over the map. Any of these tier 1 towers is a healthy influx of gold into GCCe pockets. So let's find out where we can get one of those. Probably top lane. They're already picking on it, actually. And let's start to make our way to get some gold. How about that?
Hope they find something here, because this, I would hate for this to be the way that this goes out. This is not what the team that we saw in the second game. I do feel like this is not the fight you want to take, folks. This is.
I mean, I think they get this tower. Mundo, they'll have to leave him be.
Surely they will.
No.
Surely they will, right?
I guess they can just ignore him and get the wave too. That works too. The name of the game is gold, and if you get the gold, and you don't die to get the gold, then you got the gold. And so they got the wave, they got the
not
Krug.
a Drake.
Well, Rebecca, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they had any right to contest that Drake regardless.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh,
Can't really argue with that one.
oh, Thresh with some fancy feet, and the hook, the second hook. You only need to land like 2 more before Mundo's in range. Maybe 1 more because Yunara's here. Close. Yeah, Yunara is the scary one, right?
Yeah. 6.7k gold up on a Felios is just not a good.
No, it is the Mundo that's getting into range. Thresh has found another 2 hooks in a row, and Muto's the one that's gonna kill him. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. Midis is the one that takes the kill. Congratulations. But for GCCe, flash over the wall. Just trying to make it pretty. Just trying to style. And now the siege finally begins. The tower is gone. Galio does have a flank angle. If he were to take it, I'm not sure if it makes sense to take it though. I'm gonna be honest. I think that is a break glass in case of emergency, and that glass may have to be broken at the Baron Pit instead because monkeys do have an opportunity to just take the big purple worm. I don't know if there's any way, any world where GCCe can contest.
This is a 12k gold deficit right now, and the game is not over. Normally, these are the kinds of deficits that we see at the very end of a game, because once you take Nexus and both Nexus turrets, you get a lot of gold from that. But the fact that we are this far ahead, before we even get to the Nexus, before we even get the inhibitors, for crying out loud, this is crazy. This is, you mentioned it before when we were in break that this was going to be a little rough to begin with based on the draft that the GCCe roster had actually picked up. Is this what you were expecting?
No, I won't say this is what I'm expecting. I'm also not expecting that Kiana and Galio are at the bot tier 1 while the Baron is knocking on your inhibitor mid. But here we are. Inhibitor's down, and now they can start to siege. Mundo is stalling time with Zion. You can't be there. Your base is about to go down. The TP is coming out. Mundo's TPing his way in. Aphelios just, oh my goodness. Got obliterated. That was,
I swear Aphelios are there.
I couldn't even tell you. He just disappeared. The Vicar is actually the one that surprised me. The damage, finally, the Nexus will fall. 3-26. What a disgusting game out of Monkey's Bonsai, proving exactly why they are the first seed.
Yeah, I want to give credit where credit is due here. There was a phenomenal second game.
And there was a close
folks,
third.
If you are GCCe, I want you guys to truly focus on that second game. And the third game, you guys looked really clean as well at the very beginning. And it went a little rough. And unfortunately, you didn't end up coming out on top. But that's definitely the one to look at when you're looking for improvement. Although I do still want to stress the second game. I think you guys looked phenomenal with that Jace in jungle. I think that was the draft exactly that you needed. Sure, they were, Yes was trolling a little bit on the Nasus, we'll be honest here. But with that being said, though, I do feel like you guys capitalized very well on that, and were able to take a map off of Monkey's Bonsai, which definitely put a little bit of, kind of nip them in the tail a little bit. Get them a little bit awake, and realizing that they're not going to be winning as easily as they would hope. So, at the very least, you gave them a run for their money. And you come out on top with that one. You were one of 3 teams to take any map on this Monkey Bonsai roster. And I think you go home happy with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think look at game 2, look at a close game 3, and GCCe can hold their heads high that they took what in all honesty could be a tournament favorite, took a game off, took a close loss in that third game. And for the rest of the teams in the bracket, for Ember Hayes, who's going to be playing against Monkeys in the semifinals, for either TSI or Akano Demon Time, who might find them in finals. Look at what GCCe was able to do, because they were able to make it a fight. They were able to take a game, only the third game of the season. They were able to make a close game 3 and find those holes, poke in those holes, and see if you can crack the armor of the tournament favorite.
It does look like every other playoff first match was a 3-0 victory, but the one that surprised us all is Ember Hayes coming up above Koi Abyss. And I think that is a game that was not expected for a lot of us. I know that Hayes had struggled with Abyss before in the past, but the fact that they were able to take it 3-0 just shows how strong that this team is going to come out on top. We did have Team Solo Mid take 3-0 on To Be Determined, and Conduit Demon Time did take the victory on Conduit Co. So congratulations to those teams that will be moving on. And obviously we had the 3-2-1 here, which, I mean, you guys did put up more of a fight than the other teams. So honestly, congratulations. Like, you guys did a great job, and it's sad to have you guys leave, but unfortunately, that is kind of how the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. But it was still a lot of fun to watch you guys play, and I hope to see you again in the future. In the meantime, this has been the first playoff match of the Ember Scorch League season. We will be joined again next week as the semi-final match is kicked off. Keep in mind, this is not a double elim, it is single elim as opposed to other leagues in this particular Ember League. So you keep in mind, this is, once you lose one, unfortunately you are knocked out. But we're going to be seeing a lot of more interesting games for the rest of this season as we are joined next week at 7 o'clock for yet another interesting Ember Scorch League playoff match. This has been Rebecca and Colonel signing off.